Well, good evening and welcome to the Plymouth Coliseum here on a beautiful sunny afternoon here in Plymouth in Devon. My name is Gareth Bemister, your commentator for this evening, and we are here for the Cab Direct Championships match between the Gladiators and the Edinburgh Monarchs. And joining me up here in the commentary box once again, I have got Nigel Walrond. Evening, Nigel.
Good evening everyone. Welcome to what should be a really interesting Cab Direct Championship match here, and as Gareth was saying, conditions couldn't be better. It's another wonderful summer's evening, or spring evening I should say. It feels like summer, doesn't it? We've had such a long spell of dry weather, and it's so nice coming towards meetings each week with no threat of rain and guarantee that they're going to take place.
It's a different element to being a Speedway fan when you've got weather like this. I'm sure that everyone around the country are very much enjoying it, but you can see from your images today we've got plenty of people packed in to the Coliseum once again here. We've been to a few meetings home this year, Nigel. There's obviously the new people doing the MCing in the middle. There's plenty of people here. We've got the kids race later. There's a real festival atmosphere for every meeting at the moment. Yeah,
it's Plymouth have lost a couple of home meetings, but the entertainment has been top notch and there's been big crowds. There seems to be a real buzz around the club, a real excitement about race nights, which is great to see. And with the changes on the track as well, so that third bend is giving exciting racing, and I'm sure every week people are looking forward to their speedway action.
And there's a professional air in with the riders as well. I spotted them out doing a track walk earlier. They looked, it's difficult to say, they looked very serious. They had a sort of meeting at the finish line. Then they all went into the changing rooms and then didn't appear until they were all ready and all came out again. And that's just different to other years. It just feels like there's a real want to perform.
Yeah, I'd agree, and they're all contributing. Mitchell Cluff hasn't got maybe the points he deserves. He's a great gaiter, and he deserves more points than he's collected so far. If he could just carry on, his good gating and retain his position in a race, and all the other guys have chipped in. I'm sure Nicolai KLINDT would have liked a better home meeting last time out, but we know what quality he is at number one, and I'm sure he'll come to the party. If not tonight, he'll get it right very soon.
Yeah, he's frustrated at the moment, Nicolai, and he's been open with talking about that as well. I think he's frustrated with his own form at all levels, really. He's obviously down at reserve in the Premiership at the moment, but in the Gladiators colours, he's not really packed as many points as I think that some of the fans had hoped. But he has addressed that in the press. Yeah, no, as you said, he described his last meeting, I think, as terrible, didn't he? A bit like Erling Haaland with his Manchester City season. That was it horrible and boring, wasn't it? But he could not improve this afternoon with their defeat to Palace in the FA Cup final, I should hasten to add. But no, Nicolai's very, very honest. He knows he needs to gate better around here. To not win a race in his last meeting here, he'll be very upset with that. But as I said, he's a class act, and I'm sure he'll get it together very soon. Absolutely. And you mentioned Mitchell Cluff there from Australia. I understand Mitchell, he shared the link for the live stream on his own Facebook this week. So I'm assuming we've got some fans from Australia that are tuning in this evening or this morning for them. So welcome to all of the people, dedicated people watching Mitchell at I think about 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, in Australia. But yeah, dedicated, and I'm sure that they will be hoping to see Mitchell go from strength to strength. Yeah, and I'm sure he will. It's a settling in period. It's a big move, isn't it? A young man coming all the way from Australia over to the UK to race, and he's a clutch of another group of good Aussies, people like Mitch McDermott, who we've seen round here, Fraser Bowes over here for the first time. They're promising youngsters. They all take a little bit of time to settle, but they all look great prospects. Yeah, they certainly do, and it's just a conveyor belt in Australia, and Mitchell's another one that's come off the conveyor belt. But yeah, welcome to anyone who's joining us over there in down under in Australia this morning. And also, we've probably got some people from Edinburgh as well that are joining us for this evening, having seen their team go down to Pirates yesterday. They've now got a prospect of an away match here. I think we're probably going to see who's the lineup this evening. We're starting to talk about some of these riders, but here's how they line up, Nigel. So if you want to take us through the Gladiators for this evening. Yeah, well, we've talked about Nicolai KLINDT, Alfie BOWTELL, who's a good performer.
just needs to improve a bit of consistency. Mitchell Cluff, we mentioned. Joe Thompson in at the number 4 position. Of course, he's riding in the British Under-21 final up in Glasgow tomorrow, so he's got a long drive ahead of him. Ben Barker, the skipper, he's been in very good form recently. Lasse FREDRIKSEN, good to see him back after his continental commitments. And Ben Trigger, another one who's in that British Under-21 final at Ashfield tomorrow. So we wish Joe and Ben all the very best for that long drive and for that meeting.
Yeah, and talking of long journeys, of course, the Edinburgh Monarchs here as they line up. 5 of their 6 riders this evening racing in Edinburgh yesterday and now are down in the Gladiators back garden this evening. You don't get a longer journey than that for Speedway, but the Monarchs lining up with Justin Sedgmen up the top at number 1, Kye THOMSON at 2, Jonatan GRAHN, the Swede, is at number 3, and Paco CASTAGNA, captain, at number 4. We know he goes well here at this circuit. We've seen him go well. Rider replacement at number 5, and I'm sure we'll circle back to that in a minute, Nigel, because that's been big shocking news over the last 24 hours for the Monarchs. Victor Palovaara, who we're really looking forward to seeing at number 6, and coming in for his debut at this level, 16-year-old Sonny SPRINGER is guesting at number 7. Looking forward to see what he comes up with. John Campbell's the team manager, and those are our lineups for this evening.
Yeah, and Oscar Polis, that's a great disappointment for Edinburgh and their supporters. You know, he's made a really good start, really, to his time over here. The Polish 28-year-old has racked up some big points. I think he got 12 at Berwick and 9 at Glasgow, but obviously wasn't happy with the Edinburgh track or couldn't get the grips with it, even though he was picking up points at Edinburgh. And so, by all accounts, looking at the statement that Edinburgh have released on their website, you know, after 2 rides last night where he was second in his second ride, he dropped out, and that is the last time they're going to see him in an Edinburgh race jacket. He told the promotion he'd rather be riding in Germany today than riding in Plymouth, and the Monarchs have now been given a 28-day dispensation, and obviously at very short notice to find someone to ride here tonight. You know, they've gone with rider replacement, but it's a great shame because there obviously was promise there. He maybe had a little bit of lack of belief around Edinburgh, but you know, it's one of those, if he'd stuck at it, maybe things would have turned for him.
Yeah, really unusual one. I mean, he last night, from what we can gather and sort of ascertain from various accounts, he won his opening ride despite smashing into the fence halfway round, and then the second race he was bringing home a 5-1 with Victor Palovaara, and then called it quits, and literally called it quits, and that's the end of him, which is, yeah, bizarre, but also for the Monarchs devastating. I mean, they come here this evening having lost to the Pirates last night at home 48-42. The only thing I will say, Nigel, when you look at the stats for last night, they did have a lot of heat winners, despite losing the match.
Yeah, they did. They're, you know, they've got a pretty solid look. I mean, particularly when they had Polis. I mean, Jonatan GRAHN didn't do very well last night, but he has bagged a few points already. Palovaara, I mean, he's scoring points of fun down at reserve. You know, that's such a key rider. Be interesting to see how he goes around here tonight. But if he rides like he has in previous meetings at reserve, he's going to be an absolutely key part of this Edinburgh display tonight.
So yeah, Victor Palovaara is very exciting. I think a lot of people are looking forward. He's been majestic at home. I mean, he 19 points yesterday. I think he had 16 the week before. He's banging in points. He's an absolute heat winner, race winner, meeting winner, I should say. But be interesting to see what Victor comes up with here. I don't think he's ever been here before, and it is a little bit of an acquired. Well, it has been an acquired taste, Nigel. But all the riders are saying now, with the changes, it's actually a lot easier to ride.
Yeah, it is, and you know, I said, you know, I think it's great that the work has taken place on that third bend. It's you know, giving it a bit more width. There's a bit more banking there, and you know, we're seeing riders enjoying swooping around that outside. And as I said, the entertainment so far this season has been top notch, and long may that continue.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in for a fabulous evening, I'm sure, here at the Coliseum this evening. We are Gladiators TV. And this evening we will be bringing you this fantastic match. I'm sure it will be a great night's entertainment. I will let you know we are a man down. Those of you that tune into Gladiators TV often will know that we've usually got a roving camera that takes in the pits and takes in all of the sort of action on the move and he's unfortunately, we've not got that camera facility this evening, but I'm sure it won't affect the quality of this production. It certainly won't affect the quality of the meeting, Nigel. And we will do our best to fill in the gaps.
Yes, we'll certainly try and get some rider reaction as the evening goes on. And hopefully we'll have plenty to talk about when the racing gets underway. But the track's looking a good nick. They've watered it quite heavily. It's like the track man's worst nightmare today of hot sunshine and wind as well. But they've obviously got plenty of water into this surface early on, and it's looking really good at the moment.
It does look, it's had a lot of water on it. The temperature's dropped quite a little bit. We're both here in our coats at the moment, and so the temperature's dropped a little bit. So that would have added another headache into all of the. It's a dark art doing this track prep, I think. But the track, as you say, has been great this season, and we've seen some great racing. And of course, Ben Barker we saw have that crash earlier in the year, but he's been using that banking over the back there to full effect, and I think that as riders come onto the track here, we're probably going to see a bit more of that this evening.
Yes, we used to seeing Ben go wide. I think he went a bit wider than any of us expected that night, but thankfully he was okay. It was, I think he had a bit of a back injury or shoulder injury, but he showed in his last outing that he's put that behind him, and you're always going to get spectacular racing from Mr. Barker.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've got the Edinburgh Monarchs now on the circuit, just about to be introduced to the crowd, and here come the Gladiators onto the track as well. And so we've got the, as I said, the MC in the middle firing everybody up for this meeting, but the Beer Bandits are over on the on bend 2 as well, making lots of noise. Everyone, again, Nigel, just seems up for this. I mean, we always say this, that it's great that people join us on the live stream, and for people in Edinburgh who want to watch their home team, of course, it's a really great facility, but nothing beats live Speedway.
No, not at all. It's this is very much a facility if you can't make it, and particularly for away fans as well. I'd be amazed that there's more than a handful of, if any at all, Edinburgh fans who've made the trip down tonight. There might be a few who just enjoy a trip to the southwest, and who can blame them at this time of year. But yeah, it's and it's great. I watch a lot of other clubs' streams. It's such a good addition to Speedway that you're able, even if it's not the club you support, you can watch some really good matches, and obviously what BSN do as well. It's great to be able to sit in your lounge and watch so much Speedway from around the country.
Yeah, it certainly is, and obviously tonight we've got this meeting, but there's also Berwick Bandits, Pool Pirates taking place, and you're going to keep a good eye on that as well, Nigel, aren't you?
Yeah, Neil Middleditch obviously has told his side it was a crucial weekend, which matches at Edinburgh and Berwick. They beat Scunthorpe eventually fairly comfortably in midweek, but of course they had that loss to Oxford recently. They've also drawn Oxford now in the BSN semis, which is going to be interesting. Glasgow Redcars, the other semi in that. Both of those over 2 legs, so they should be 2 cracking semi-finals. But yeah, I think he was very much targeting 2 victories this weekend, and they'll be pleased with what happened at Edinburgh. I think it probably ended up being a bit closer than they hoped. And as you said, Edinburgh did get quite a lot of race winners, didn't they? But Poole have got strength pretty much all the way down now. Darryl Richings, of course, coming from Matt Marson in their number 7 berth. He got a couple of points last night, but that should be a really interesting matchup at Sheffield Park.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that, and anything of interest coming from that, we'll let you know. But yeah, Darryl Richings is an interesting one coming into Poole. It's only a temporary measure, of course. They're waiting for Will Cairns to come of age, and my goodness, that's going to be a big boost to the team, I'm sure, as long as Will carries on as he is. But Darryl Richings, he had a terrible accident several years ago. I knew him very well through the grass track, and Darryl had a really nasty accident, and it's great to see him back racing again. But tonight we've got the teams coming up here now, just on your screen. Victor Palovaara is the man to watch this evening, I would suggest. And yeah, Paco CASTAGNA, the Italian who goes so well here. Jonatan GRAHN is the Swedish rider I've never seen before, Nigel, so we'll be interested to see how he goes. And the 2 Aussies in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I've only seen him on a live stream from Edinburgh. the same time I saw Oscar Polis for the first time, but he rode pretty well that night. But Paco CASTAGNA took quite a hefty fall right at the end of last night's meeting, so hopefully for his sake he's not feeling any after effects from that. But he's obviously here, and he was warming up in the pits earlier, so he looked fine.
Yeah, he's obviously all right. Well, they're tough, these speedway riders, aren't they? But here's the Gladiators being introduced, and Ben Trigger at number 7 is a rider who's been interesting to watch this season. He's more than doing his job, Nigel, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I went up to see the Paul Plymouth match, and he was excellent in that meeting. I think he got 6 or maybe paid 8 even. I think it was 6 points he got, but he's really competitive this year, and you know, he's come back after a year away from the Coliseum and riding up with red car, and he's come back with a real fire in his belly. And I'm sure he'll be, as I said earlier, he'll be looking forward to that British Under-21 final up at Glasgow tomorrow, where of course probably one of the big meeting favourites for that one is going to be former Gladiator Dan Thompson, who's in top-notch form at the moment.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I was just speaking to his dad before we came on, and he was saying he was in great form yesterday as well, Dan. So yeah, Dan's flying wherever he goes at the moment, and he'll certainly start as favourite, but I'm sure Ben will enjoy that experience. He was very determined when we had the Under-21 qualifier here. He came third, of course, which saw him safely through, and he was the only rider, I think, to beat Luke KLINDT on that evening. So it was a real good performance. But he was disappointed with third, which tells you where his mind's at.
Definitely. Yeah, I watched Scunthorpe Glasgow last night, and Dan was excellent. You know, it was a really, really good meeting. Glasgow won the superheat in the end to take the 2 points, but it was a cracking meeting to watch. And yeah, Dan Thompson, Kyle Howard was another one who was on top form last night, another former Gladiator. You know, coming back from a recent injury, but yeah, Glasgow are pushed all the way by Scunthorpe, but just got there in the end.
Yeah, there are 2 very good teams, the Glasgow Tigers, of course, and the Edinburgh Monarchs this evening. They're spoilt in Scotland, really, for Speedway. So we've got riders at the moment warming up. There is the aforementioned Mr. Trigger having a quick practice start, and starts so important here.
Yeah, they are. As I said, there is, you know, with that change on the third bend, there is more options to overtake now than maybe there were in the past. But yeah, it's still very important to get out of the traps first. I didn't hear who won the coin toss. I don't know if you did, but it'll be interesting to find out who won the toss.
No, I didn't hear that. But we'll soon find out.
Yes.
We've got a little bit of youth racing, a bit of youth riding to happen before we get going. They're going to have a go. Of course, Barry Bishop has been down here working with the younger riders recently, and always seems to take to track whenever there's some of the younger riders on track. But he's not here this evening. I was all prepared to talk to Barry, and then I saw a picture of him on social media in Warsaw. So apparently there's a little meeting going on in Poland this evening.
Yeah, just a small one. That's right. Well, we just got a little wait before the first heat. I think we can't but not mention that British final on Monday. I mean, that has got to be probably one of the most superb speedway races I've seen on a UK track ever. I mean, if you have not seen it yet, make sure you have a look on social media, because it was 4 laps of absolute thrilling entertainment between Dan Bewley, Robert Lambert, Charles Wright and Chris Harris, and it was a race where at one point all of them led. I mean, it was astonishing, and you know, it was a great night's racing all round. But what a way to finish! And Robert Lambert, at one point it looked like Chris Harris was going to win the meeting, and the youngster's just taken a bit of a nasty fall there. He's all right. He's picked himself up, which is great to see.
Yeah, a bit of a tumble. I think it's the track's obviously quite slick, but he looks.
That's great. The crowd giving him a round of applause.
Big round of applause there.
He pretty much bowed to them. So I love that. I love that spirit. But
hopefully the bike's okay. That'll be his first thought, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a great race, wasn't it? That up at Bellevue, and if that's a sign of things to come when the Grand Prix rounds take place there in June, then you know, we should have 2 very special days of racing.
Yeah, it was tremendous. And if you've not seen it, where have you been? Because it seems to be everywhere. I think a few of my grass track friends were texting and saying, crikey, I think I've just seen the best speedway race I've ever seen.
Yeah,
so it was transcending the sport, really. But yeah, it was, and Bomber was in front going into the last lap, I think.
It was... and I love Robert Lambert's reaction afterwards. After he'd won the British title, he said, I can't wait to see that race back. Because was it as good as it felt out there? You know, he was as thrilled to be a part of that as the people were to watch it. It was an absolute cracker.
Yeah, so we've got our youngster back on his bike here,
Brilliant.
giving everyone a wave.
He's back on.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he is fine.
So at the bottom of your screen, you can see at the moment all the ways you can get involved in Plymouth Gladiators Speedway on the web, on Facebook, on X, on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikTok, or you can email direct to the club as well and get involved in the club. I believe there's a live viewing going on as well that the announcer has been saying this evening. There's a live viewing or a live Facebook group where you can add your comments, I think. I daren't look at it personally, Nigel. When we were told about it before, it filled me with dread, actually. But we've got 2 minutes for Heat 1. That's perfect. So here we go.
Yeah, and it's the big boys out, isn't it? And this one, Nicolai KLINDT and Justin Sedgmen, the two number ones for each team. And so this is going to be particularly interesting for Nicolai KLINDT to see if he's got his gating gloves on tonight.
Yeah, he'll be feeling this a little bit, I'd imagine. He wants to do well, and here is, you know, being in Heat 1, the track's always a little bit different, but he knows all that. He's got plenty of experience, and I'm sure he'll be ready.
And Plymouth are off 1 and 3.
So here we go then. Heat number 1 off the inside here in gate number 1 in blue will be Alfie BOWTELL, Kye Thompson off of gate 2 in yellow, and Nicolai KLINDT off of gate 3 in red, and off the outside here, Justin Sedgmen in white.
Edinburgh Monarchs in yellow and white, Justin Sedgmen.
So here we go then, Nigel. Heat number 1. And you said that we've got 1 and 3. We've no idea if they won the toss, but we'll have to try it one night. We'll have to try and hear that, won't we?
I think normally if you win the toss at the moment, you'd go 1 and 3, wouldn't you? So I'm assuming that the Gladiators won the toss, but we shall find out later. But Kye Thompson is an interesting character. He's got the ability, he just lacks that consistency, and if he can bring that to the party tonight, then he'll be a key man for Edinburgh. But you know, we shall see how he does.
Yeah, so the start marshal calling them in here for Heat number 1, and they are at the tapes and ready to go. So tapes up, away they go, and it's a good start from Alfie BOWTELL off the inside. Justin Sedgmen is the rider coming around in white. The Monarchs have packed that second and third, but it's Alfie BOWTELL who leads. A perfect start from gate 1 for Alfie BOWTELL.
Yeah, Nicolai KLINDT couldn't quite get across the Edinburgh duo there, and he got forced wide, and he finds himself at the back, which he won't be happy with, and he's now dropping out. Well, he seems to have got his bike going again now, but he's a long way adrift, but Alfie BOWTELL leading the way.
Alfie BOWTELL did what we know he does very well. He made the gate and he's absolutely gone. Nicolai KLINDT getting smothered in mud. I think that was the problem there. I think he was just getting battered in mud there. 1 more lap to go here.
Yeah, BOWTELL looking classy out front. KLINDT is still going, but he's about to be lapped. He's just about to get over the finish line before the rest of them. But Alfie BOWTELL will be delighted with that. A 3-3 heat draw, but Nicolai KLINDT will be going back to the pits to do some work on that bike.
Yeah, his body language there is really worrying, Nigel. He looks absolutely dejected, KLINDT, but such a quality rider. But Alfie BOWTELL, absolutely no mistakes there, fired out of gate 1, and duly took the win.
Yeah. 54.56 the winning time for Alfie BOWTELL, so that's a good time to start with.
So the results then of heat number 1, it was a win for Alfie BOWTELL in blue, 3 points to him, 2 points to Justin Sedgmen in white, 1 point to Kye Thompson in yellow. No score there for Nicolai KLINDT in red. It's a 3-all to get us started here at the Coliseum. 54.56 was that winning time, as Nigel mentioned.
And this is going to be a fascinating heat number 2 with Victor Palovaara out against Lasse FREDRIKSEN, who showed up so well the last time we saw him around here at the Coliseum, and as we said, Ben Trigger and Sonny SPRINGER making his championship debut.
Yes, an interesting one here, because we are hearing so many good things and seeing so much from Victor Palovaara, and but Trigger and FREDRIKSEN are a strong duo as it turns out this season.
The second heat.
So here we go then with the lineup for Heat 2. Off of the inside here in Gate 1 in white is Victor Palovaara. Lasse FREDRIKSEN off of Gate 2 in red. Sonny SPRINGER off of Gate 3 in yellow, and Ben Trigger off of Gate 4 here in blue. And Sonny SPRINGER making his debut here. The nerves must be jangling here.
Yeah, Palovaara's off the inside where Alfie BOWTELL just made that lightning start from, so it'll be interesting to see if the Swede can do the same.
Yeah, here we go then. So Palovaara, he would have seen that Alfie BOWTELL made a flying start off the inside here, and he's now occupying that. Lasse FREDRIKSEN has got a big job to do coming off of Gate 2.
And of course, up against his old club, Lasse FREDRIKSEN was with Edinburgh last year and has joined the Gladiators.
Yeah, another element there, of course, for FREDRIKSEN is that exactly what Nigel says. So he will want to lower the colours of his former team here, that's for sure. Tapes up for heat number 2, away they go, and it is FREDRIKSEN that makes the great start. He gets in front of Victor Palovaara. Ben Trigger's been forced out at the back. He looks down at the machine, but it is, at the moment, FREDRIKSEN who leads, with Palovaara all over him in second.
Yeah, almost a replica of what happened to Nicolai KLINDT there. Ben Trigger got forced out wide and then seemed to have a bike issue. He's managed to get it going again, but he's a long way adrift of the rider in yellow, Sonny SPRINGER. But there's a good battle out front here between FREDRIKSEN and Victor Palovaara, who's really putting the pressure on, but FREDRIKSEN just keeping his nose in front at the moment.
FREDRIKSEN just trying to keep things clean and tidy here, because Palovaara looks incredibly fast in that second place. He is putting all sorts of pressure on the Norwegian in this last lap of this race. Lasse FREDRIKSEN has got to keep things tidy. He's got to hold on here to take the win. He does indeed take a win. It's second place there to Victor Palovaara. Sonny SPRINGER just does hold on to third, so a point in his opening ride, and he will be absolutely delighted with scoring a point in his opening ride in the championship, I'm sure.
Yeah, he just made a slight error on that final bend, which almost saw Ben Trigger catch him on the line, but SPRINGER just about hung on to his machine to get it over the finish line, and it's another 3-3.
A terrific win for Lasse FREDRIKSEN. He has been really good in this number 6 spot for the Gladiators, once again proving his worth there in heat number 2. So the results then, it was a win there for Lasse FREDRIKSEN, 3 points to him, 2 points to Victor Palovaara in white, 1 point to Sonny SPRINGER in yellow, no score there for Ben Trigger in blue. It's another 3-all, so we are still drawing here, 6 points each between the Gladiators and the Monarchs.
Yeah, Ben Trigger just I don't know if he had bike issues or what. He was looking down, wasn't he, at his machine, a bit like Nicolai KLINDT was. Well, they got forced out wide on that opening bend and just never recovered from that. But another competitive looking heat 3 now. And as I said, Paco CASTAGNA took a bit of a heavy fall last night against Paul up at Edinburgh, so it'll be interesting to see if he's affected by that at all. And he's up against Mitchell, Cluff and Joe Thompson for the Gladiators.
So here is the lineup then for heat number 3. Off the inside here, gate number 1 in blue, Joe Thompson. Jonatan GRAHN off of gate 2 in white. Mitchell Cluff here off of gate 3 in red. And Paco CASTAGNA off the outside here in yellow.
And as I said earlier, Mitchell's gating is usually excellent, so you know he's often first away from the tapes. That's you know, often with young riders, that's an element of their game that needs improving, but you wouldn't say that with Mitchell Cluff. And I think in his very first meeting for Plymouth here, in his first race, he gated a dream, didn't he?
He did, and he wasn't particularly happy with how consistent his gating was. And I know that he invested in a lot of money in his clutch after those first couple of meetings. And yeah, he clearly knows how to trap. So heat 3 then here, Joe Thompson and Mitchell Cluff up against Jonatan GRAHN and Paco CASTAGNA. And tapes up, away they go, and it's a great start off the inside there for Joe Thompson. He's got CASTAGNA on the outside, he forces CASTAGNA wide. Mitchell Cluff's out the back, so once again as it stands, we've got another 3-all here.
Jonatan GRAHN almost locking up on that third bend, and Mitchell Cluff had to do his best not to go into the back of him there. But GRAHN's got himself going, but it's Joe Thompson out the front with Paco CASTAGNA a few bike lengths behind in second place.
And Jonatan GRAHN has gone very, very wide coming into bends 1 and 2. Mitchell Cluff's having a look at him there. There's one more lap to go here, but Joe Thompson's looking fantastic up front.
Yeah, Jonatan GRAHN wouldn't have ridden this track before, so he's almost like learning as he goes around, but he's just got a little bit too much of Mitchell Cluff at the moment, and we're heading for our third successive 3-3 of the night.
Yeah, solid win there for Joe Thompson. He fired off the start just like Alfie BOWTELL did and Lasse FREDRIKSEN did as well. So at least one of the riders for the Gladiators in each of the races is making some excellent starts, and this time Joe Thompson is a fine winner of heat number 3.
Yeah, the Monarchs packing the minor placings at the moment, and that's keeping this match all level. But excellent gate there from Joe Thompson, despite coming under a lot of pressure there from Paco CASTAGNA.
So here are the results then of heat number 3. It was a win for Joe Thompson in blue, 3 points to him, 2 points to Paco CASTAGNA in yellow, 1 point to Jonatan GRAHN in white, no score there for Mitchell Cluff in red, 3-all in the heat, 9-all on the night. So we are very tight here after 3 heats, absolutely nothing between them at all. And we can have a look here at heat number 3 once again, and Joe Thompson showing us how to gate here off of gate number 1. And it's a terrific start from Joe Thompson, shuffles the pack over, he comes under pressure there from Paco CASTAGNA, but CASTAGNA hasn't got enough to get round him, but the Monarchs then are able to pack those second and third places once again with Mitchell Cluff out the back. So here we go then, heat number 4, and we've got Ben Barker on the circuit for the first time, and rider replacement here for the Edinburgh Monarchs. We'll keep an eye on that. We've got Sonny SPRINGER on the circuit as well, and Ben Trigger too.
Just seeing who's in white for the Monarchs. Can't quite identify. Just to let you know, after 2 heats, Berwick are leading the Pirates 7-5 up at Shieldfield Park. So a 3-3 in heat number 1 has been followed by a 4-2 to Berwick in the second race.
So Barker here off of gate number 3, and Trigger will be off of gate number 1. And here is the lineup then. So we've got Ben Trigger, as I said, off of gate 1 eventually in blue. Sonny SPRINGER off of gate 2 in yellow, Ben Barker off of gate 3 in red, and it's Victor Palovaara off of gate 4 in white here. He did look fast in heat 2, and he's very used to doing a lot of races, Victor Palovaara. He's accustomed to doing 7 usually, so expect to see him quite a lot this evening. Nigel's just writing his name into the programme, and as you can imagine, that takes a bit longer than some of the days.
We got 3 of the 4 riders who took part in heat 2 here, haven't we? The only difference is Ben Barker instead of Lasse FREDRIKSEN. So it's almost a rerun of the reserves race. And Ben Trigger will be hoping for something a bit better in this one, partnered here with Ben Barker, but Ben Trigger off the inside.
Yeah, well, he got squeezed out, didn't he, off of the outside earlier, so he'll be relishing being off the inside here. But here we go then, heat number 4, tapes up, away they go. Trigger's made a better start, but it's Ben Barker who's made an absolute flyer. Barker who leads, Palovaara's got into that second place, Ben Trigger's in third, and Sonny SPRINGER out the back. So 4-2 at the moment.
Yeah, Ben Barker leading the way here, that's an excellent gate. But as before, Victor Palovaara certainly not giving up. Ben Trigger got a good lead over Sonny SPRINGER in third place, but the action is at the front, where Palovaara is trying to eat up that lead on Ben Barker.
Yeah, once again, Victor Palovaara not quite sharp enough going into bend 1, and he's now having to try and find a way past. As I said, Ben Barker lifts coming off of bend 4. He's got the thing back under control now, but a little bit of a worrying moment for Barker.
It almost looked like he's retiring with an engine problem there, the way he almost like drifted out to the outside, but he's fine. He crosses the finish line, gets the checkered flag, and there's finally a heat advantage in this meeting. It's happened in Heat 4, it's gone to the Gladiators, and they've got a 4-2.
Yeah, good result there for Ben Trigger and Ben Barker with the 4-2. Ben Barker's machine looked like it was set up to be driving really hard, and I think that was what was going on as he came out of bend 4. The bike was driving really hard. He struggled to turn it, did get it turned, but a great win there from the captain and a good start. So the results then of heat number 4, it was a win for Ben Barker, 3 points to him in red, 2 points to Victor Palovaara in white, 1 point to Ben Trigger in blue. No score there for Sonny Springer in yellow. It's a 4-2 to the Gladiators, 13-11 now, a marginal lead as we go into heat 5.
Yep, and all 4 heat winners provided by the Gladiators so far.
Yeah, so Barker here, it looked like the bike was set up to be really driving him hard here. A few times in this turn he was just chasing that dirt, and we'll have a look now. It looked like the Sonny Springer there lifting quite a lot off the start, but Barker got in front, and he just looked like the machine was really driving hard in that dirt.
Wonderful leg trailing, isn't it, by Barker around that 3rd and 4th bend. He's such a stylist.
He certainly is, and Palovaara there looked fast again in that second, but he's just not quite getting into the front. And you do feel that he's showing enough speed here to really warrant a little bit of a concern going into the later stages, but he's already taken 2 of his 7 rides, and you've got to believe that he's going to take some more. So we've got a track grade going on at the moment on the circuit. We'll just keep an eye on this and let you know what it's looking like with the track grade. Obviously Mark Phillips is the promoter there that you see on the tractor of this club. He absolutely seems to do every single job going in this place. He's the track curator, that's for sure, as well as everything else, and he'll be having a look at this track. And there looks like there's a lot of dirt that's been created on the circuit, certainly on this corner here, and I think that's probably what was catching Ben out. We'll see if we can catch a word with Ben a little bit later on, but as you can imagine, all of the riders are currently in the pits talking setups and getting things changed and making alterations ready for their next set of heats.
Looks like there's a fair bit of dirt coming off the surface here on this grade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a heavy looking track, which is a result of the watering, I'd imagine, but yes, it will probably provide good racing, I'd imagine.
Just a bit of a delay up at Berwick in Heat 3. Zach Cook was excluded for touching the tapes. Paul Stark's come in for him, and then there's been a crash between Paul Stark and Daniel Hume, and all the riders are now back up again and walking back to the pits, which is great to hear. All 4 back for the rerun, but a couple of reruns there up at Berwick means there's a bit of a delay in the scoring.
We'll keep an eye on that. So we're just on your screens. You're just having a look at the work that's going into this track after 4 heats, and as Nigel said, there's been a lot of material moved around there on the circuit, and that's quite different to usual. It doesn't usually seem to be making quite so much material, so we will keep an eye on that.
It's ridden okay though, hasn't it, the track so far? Certainly from watching. I don't know what the riders think about it, but there don't seem to have been any issues in terms of the riders on the track. With Ben Trigger and Nicolai KLINDT, it seemed to be more bike issues, didn't it, than in their first rides, and anything going on with the surface. But Mark Phillips just putting some work in.
Yeah, I don't know if Nicolai had trouble with vision there. He seemed to he was getting a lot of what would have been quite sloppy sort of wet from where the track had just been watered. I think he was getting covered in all sorts, so I think that may have been the reason. He backed right off but kept going, didn't he? So perhaps that was the reason. Perhaps it's nothing too serious for him. But
you had to get water down, didn't you, early? The first heat was always going to be a wet one, I think. You've got to have that level of moisture in the track when the weather's like this. Lovely sunny evening. I said it was windy. The wind seems to have died now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have a look at Heat 3 once again here. And Heat 3, of course, Joe Thompson with a fabulous win here. Paco CASTAGNA lent heavily on him in that first turn, but after that, all of the riders, this has been the key to winning, is just getting on that inside. There doesn't seem to be another line at the moment, or nobody's attempted that other line yet.
No, it's very much sticking to the curb, isn't it, in these opening races. I'm sure as the meeting goes on, we'll see them drifting a little bit wider.
We saw Jonatan GRAHN go out into the dirt on bends 1 and 2, but I think that was more, and here we go, just as I say that, that's exactly what happened. But I think that was not by design, really.
No. He did well to stop it piling into the air fence there.
He certainly did. But Dan Thompson then signed for Leicester Lions for 28 days. Sorry, Joe Thompson, I beg your pardon. Joe Thompson signed for Leicester Lions. And that's a reward, really, for he's been going really well.
Yeah, he's made a very good start, hasn't he? You know, he's needed to, really, because the Gladiators almost like looking at him as a third heat leader this season. So he had to step up his point scoring, and he's delivering. And, you know, like his brother, who's just gone on leaps and bounds in the past 12 months, I think Joe is hard on his heels and following a similar fashion. And, you know, as she said, it's great to see him getting a chance back in the top league again.
Yeah, it certainly is. And of course, we talked about Nicolai KLINDT in Heat 1. So we'll have a quick look at this here. And he was off of gate 3 here, Nicolai. And he just didn't get there. You said yourself, Nigel, he just didn't get to where he needed to be early enough.
Yeah, he tried to get over the top of the Monarchs, but didn't quite make it. And then, you know, he's trailing. And then he was looking down his machine as he went down that back straight. We can't quite see it on the pictures, but you know, then he seemed to get the bike going again, but he obviously wasn't happy, was he? It'd be interesting to see how he fares when he comes out in Heat 6.
Alfie BOWTELL looking good though. He had a little injury last week, a little incident that just caused him a little injury, but he's obviously feeling okay now. Looking brilliant here. Alfie BOWTELL's got this in him though, hasn't he?
Yeah, as I said when we were talking before the meeting with Alfie, it's just consistency, isn't it? Particularly away from home. He's good round here, but you know, it's when he's away from home he doesn't really get as many points as his promoter would want, and I'm sure Alfie would want as well. So it's just getting that away form going a little bit better. But he's a really valuable member of the team, and particularly around this track.
Yeah, he's well liked as well around here, which always helps. I mean, he lives in Essex, so it's a big old journey for him every week. So it's a long way for him to come every week, but he seems to enjoy riding the track, and certainly the crowd seem to enjoy him being here. He can win at any point. So Alfie will be delighted with that first heat win, that's no doubt about that. We've got water going on the circuit, as you can see here, and that usually signals that we are nearly ready to get going. That's usually the last bit of track prep that goes on.
Yeah, not a lot of water. The it's going, I was going to say, the Bowser's going around pretty rapid rate of knots, but it's slowed down a little bit now on the bend, so it was obviously trying not to put too much water down on the start line there.
It's a dark art, track prep, it really is. We, you know, both on speedway and grass track as well, I can certainly tell you on grass track, when you've got a farmer's field that you have to prep for a whole day's racing and it's baking sun, all you can do is flood the thing. I mean, there's not a lot more you can do, and hope for the best. And so speedway tracks and grass tracks, having the getting it right is very difficult. So here we go, look at this. Gate 1 at the moment's marginally the favourite, but gate 4 is a graveyard.
Yeah, though looking at that, 6 points have come from gate 4 though, even though more than gates 2 and 3, even though no one's won off that. So, but yeah, gate 1, 2 wins, 9 points, that's the place to be at the moment.
Yeah, it's a long way to come from the outside there into this first turn, and if gate 4's not working, you can't get across. You have to get across everybody, and that's a few riders have been caught out on the outside, and I think that's been the problem. But just looking at Heat 5, and we will have, of course, Joe Thompson and Mitchell Cluff here for the Gladiators.
Just going back to the grass track, of course, you have a lot more races as well, don't you, on the surface, which is another issue, I'm sure, in track preparation. Yeah,
and sidecars as well, and our Australian viewers will certainly appreciate the extra thought that has to go to the track when you've got 1000cc sidecars on it as well. So all sorts of thoughts that go into it, but yeah, soaking it on a day like today certainly would be the way forward.
In blue, number 4, Joe Thompson.
So we're about to get back underway for this one.
Edinburgh Monarchs, in white, number 1, Justin Sedgmen. And in yellow,
So here we go then, heat number 5 off the inside here in yellow will be Kye Thompson, Mitchell Cluff off of gate 2 here in red, Justin Sedgmen off of gate 3 in white, and Joe Thompson here off the outside here in blue.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Joe copes with that outside gate. Good race winner in his opening ride. That was from the inside gate, so gate 4 this time, and Justin Sedgmen alongside him. So obviously recently signed by Sheffield in the Premiership, Justin Sedgmen. So as they tried to cover the hole left by the awful injury for Ty Woffenden. Sedgmen, obviously, I think it's something like the 3rd time I think he's signed for Sheffield. He's a regular, going back into their side to fill gaps, and him and Lewis Kerr is the other rider they've brought in, and both started pretty well and made Sheffield look really as solid as Ipswich do all the way through from 1 to 7.
Yeah, no mean feat that at all, and Justin has definitely got some pace in him. But here we go then, heat number 5 is at the tapes. And tapes go up, away they go, and it is off the inside. The rider in yellow, Kye Thompson, that shuffles everyone over. Joe Thompson has fallen. And that really was a very, very tight first corner. Red flags are out, the riders are coming to a stop.
Well,
and
they should be all full back because Joe Thompson just ran out of room there. Yeah, all full back, unsatisfactory start. Mitchell Cluff gated well there, but as you said, they all shuffled across, didn't they? And then Joe Thompson just run out of room. He's gone into the air fence.
Yeah, Mitchell Cluff made a good start, but Kye Thompson made a better one off the inside of him, and that's what shuffled him. We can have a look here, in fact.
Yeah.
So Kye Thompson makes a flyer off of gate 1, and Mitchell tries to come across. All 4 of them are together. Look at that, unbelievable. And Joe Thompson, yeah, is the unlucky one there.
He's fine. He's up on his feet, walking back. They're just trying to. They were trying to dig his bike from out underneath the air fence, but his dad Darren has come and rescued the machine. Might need a little bit of work on it, but Joe's fine. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, relatively easy, relatively straightforward fall, but you never know with things like that. There's so many things, so many times you see awkward falls like that, but it looks like Joe's fine. So
I think the bike's okay. Darren, his dad, is running back to the pits with it, so obviously needs a little bit of work, but didn't look like there was too much bent on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're having a quick look here at the end of the race there, and that was just as the red flag came out, so they did see it quite late, but Mitchell Cluff was in amongst it there.
Yeah, he trapped really well, didn't he?
Yeah,
was in second, wasn't he, really, when they all moved out, and, well, Joe Thompson had nowhere to go there.
No. Kye Thompson did a fine job of getting in front of Mitchell Cluff. I think that was the deciding factor there, really. But yeah, once they got going, right, I can see Ben Barker down here. I can see Alfie BOWTELL down here as well. They're both having a look at things. And just a minute ago, they were hiding. You can just see Ben in the left-hand corner of your screen, and Alfie's up there too, having a look at things. And just now, they were nowhere to be seen when we had that track grade. But now we don't know how long we've got, of course. And I don't get Ben chatting because you never know when he's going to stop. He's our mercenary commentator, of course. Whenever he can, he comes and commentates. And he commentated for Gladiators TV on the under-21s qualifier.
Yeah, seasonal debut.
And it was good to have his insight as well into all of the things going on there.
The problem is when we do have him, not for that meeting, but it's usually when he's sadly injured, isn't it? And
yeah.
So in some ways, the less we see of him each season, the better, isn't it? But from a staying fit point of view, but good value when we've got him.
Yeah, he certainly is. He certainly is good value when we've got him. But having a chat with his dad there, talking things over. So I think this delay is just as you said, Nigel. I think they're just checking Joe's bike over, just to make sure it's all okay to go in the rerun, and then we should be good to go again.
But yeah, it was good to see Joe get up there. It was, thank goodness for air fences, isn't it? That was, you know, if he'd been smashing into a solid fence there, things might have been a little bit different. But referee tonight, Dave Waters, who got that decision spot on. It's difficult, isn't it, for the ref in that box? He's got the sun in his eyes, and he hasn't got. We've got a beautiful angle of the first bend here. And Rob Doran just getting the thumbs up that the track is all okay and the air fence is all okay, so that's all good to go. So, as I said, they'll give Joe Thompson a little bit of time here, just brush himself down and get his bike sorted, and then we'll be cracking on with the rerun of heat number 5. Just going back to those BSN semis, they're going to be 2 tasty meetings, aren't they? Poor old Oxford and Poole meeting again, having met in the group stages. Of course, they've both been here already this season. And then Glasgow versus Redcar. There's, you know, probably 4 teams there that I'm sure a lot of people would fancy to be the 4 people in the playoffs at the end of the season. I'm sure the Gladiators would like to have a say in that, and sure one or 2 other teams as well. But those 2 semis are too close to call, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are, and it's a nice way to start the season, the BSN series. I think that it just gets everyone up to speed rather than going straight into the Knockout Cup or the championship itself. That BSN series, I think it's the 2nd season they've run it now, isn't it? And it seems to be a successful one. There was a bit of controversy though, Nigel, wasn't there, around the lucky loser?
Yeah, Paul got it, I think, on points difference in the end, wasn't it?
It was points they'd scored, I think,
rather
than or something like that. I might be wrong, but I know there was a little bit of disgruntled fandom online, but it always is, no matter what happens. But I think one of the other teams in the Scottish, or maybe it was the Northern one, had won more meetings, but Paul had scored more points, so they were the lucky loser. So, yeah, I don't know where we sit with that, but as you say, it doesn't really matter because you're going to have 2 very good semi-finals.
All you can say is, I guess, all the teams knew the rules before the competition started, and as long as those rules didn't change after the competition started, then you've got to live and die by the outcomes, don't you? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But Paul will be very relieved to have got into those semis after losing that meeting at home to Oxford. So that's all 4 riders out for this rerun of heat number 5. Just waiting for the rider in blue, Joe Thompson, to come around.
So here we go then, heat number 5. Off the inside here in gate 1 in yellow is Kye Thompson, and Mitchell Cluff once again off of gate 2 here in red. Justin Sedgmen off gate 3 in white, and Joe Thompson back on his machine here for the Gladiators, gate 4 blue. So here we go, heat 5, the rerun.
Can Mitchell Cluff repeat the good gate he made in the first running of this? But the 2 Edinburgh boys also made good gates.
Yeah, he'll want to make a better one because I think Kye Thompson getting in front of him was the crucial thing there. So Cluff will need to get out better than Kye Thompson on the inside and lean all over him if they're going to take anything here. So here we go then, heat number 5, the rerun. So takes up, away they go, and once again Kye Thompson's made a good start, but crucially so has Justin Sedgmen, and it is the 2 Monarchs. But look at that, Joe Thompson right up in between the 2 Monarchs. He is fighting here.
Yeah, someone using the outside line for maybe the first time tonight. Very brave bit of riding there to try and get between the 2 Monarchs riders, but managed to get past Kye Thompson, couldn't quite get over Justin Sedgmen, who's pulling away at the front. Mitchell Cluff a long way adrift at the back.
Justin Sedgmen looks very impressive here, but Kye Thompson is starting to use some different lines. He went into the dirt on bends 1 and 2, he's going into the dirt on bends 3 and 4. He's trying to come around the outside of Joe Thompson.
Yeah, that outside line certainly developing, and Kye Thompson tries it again around the first and second bends. Will he have one more dash? It looks like Joe Thompson's lost control on the 4th bend and has gone into the fence, and It's going to be a 5-1 to the Monarchs. Thankfully, Joe Thompson picking himself up, but just lost control coming into bend 4 there, and unfortunately the fence came up quickly and Edinburgh have taken a 5-1.
Yeah, bizarre incident there for Joe Thompson. He's obviously back up on the machine once again, but he's just lost control just in the middle of the corner there. Joe Thompson, after riding so well throughout the race. What a shame that was, but a great win there from Justin Sedgmen. So here are the results then of Heat 5. It was a win for Justin Sedgmen in white, 3 points to him, 2 points to Kye Thompson in yellow, 1 point to Mitchell Cluff there in red. No score for Joe Thompson after that fall in blue. It's a 5-1 to the visitors, which brings them back into the lead, 16 points to 14 in the favour of the visitors.
Yeah, no sign of that happening really. It wasn't as if Kye Thompson was putting him under a lot of pressure going into the 3rd and 4th bends. But yeah, he just suddenly drifted a bit wide, and there was the air fence collecting him. And you know, fair play to Kye Thompson. He put up a great battle for the whole 4 laps there, and the Monarchs have got their noses in front here.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster there, but hopefully it's good to see Joe's up again. I mean, it's two falls there into the air fences on either end, but not a great start for Joe Thompson there.
Well, this one's crucial, isn't it? Nicolai KLINDT out in red.
Yeah, here we go then, Heat 6. The lineup is Nicolai KLINDT off of red in Gate 1 here. Gate 2 is Jonatan GRAHN in white. Alfie BOWTELL off of Gate 3 here in blue, and Victor Palovaara here off of Gate 4 in yellow. 2 second places so far for Victor Palovaara. Alfie BOWTELL, of course, took that tremendous Heat 1 win. Nicolai KLINDT didn't really get going at all in Heat 1. So we will see what happens here.
Swedish double act here in GRAHN and Palovaara. GRAHN taking the rider replacement for the departed Oscar Polis. He gave us plenty of excitement in one of his earlier outings, didn't he, GRAHN, or his first outing?
Yeah, he looked like he was, he looked like he was throwing it around a fair pace.
He was learning the track as he went, wasn't he? The first time he's been here, and he looked pretty good for someone who'd never ridden around here before. Got himself an important 3rd place in his first outing.
So the start marshal calling them in here. So off of that inside here, Nicolai KLINDT, he really needs a result here, and the Gladiators need him to produce something here. Alfie BOWTELL, he needs to follow up his first Heat win as well. Jonatan GRAHN and Victor Palovaara will be trying their best to put a stop to that. So tapes up, away they go, and Nicolai KLINDT has made a flyer off the inside. Palovaara's coming right round the outside. It's Victor Palovaara who leads, and at the back Alfie BOWTELL's having a go. He's fallen at the back, Alfie BOWTELL, and gone into the air fence. So we'll wait to see. Red flags and red lights do come on. So Alfie BOWTELL falling heavily going into bend 3.
Yeah, he's a little bit stuck under the air fence. Very hard to say from where we are here whether there was any contact there with Jonatan GRAHN. Referee probably got a better look of it from the box there. Nicolai KLINDT gated first there, but Palovaara came round the outside of him to take the lead, so KLINDT would have been much happier with the way he got away from the start line, but all eyes at the moment on Alfie BOWTELL. The track staff just going over to help him out from underneath the air fence. Hopefully he's okay.
Well, he looked like he was going to have a go around the outside there of Jonatan GRAHN. It looked like he was shaping up to have a go around the outside on the banking, and then just seemed to straighten up as he got to the turn, and then headed for the air fence, unfortunately.
Yeah, he sort of slipped in, didn't he, underneath it. Which is why they're just trying to extricate him. The medical staff are there, of course. But yeah, Nicolai KLINDT, yeah, he gated first, didn't he? But Palovaara, as we've said all night, you know, he chases you down and managed to get ahead of the Gladiators number 1. Yeah, he's on his feet. That's great to see. Just wait the referee's decision now.
So let's have a look at it here. Obviously, as you said, Palovaara found his way round, but Alfie BOWTELL's about to come into shot here, and he just straightens up there, and in he goes. There's no room left.
I think it's going to be his exclusion light coming on, isn't it? I don't think there's any contact there at all with Jonatan GRAHN.
Yeah, we've got a black flag actually from the start marshal. The start marshal's just displayed a black flag with a blue circle. So, yeah, Alfie BOWTELL goes back. He looks okay though, which is the best news. But won't be able to take his place in the rerun. Nicolai KLINDT will go it alone here in heat number 6.
Yeah, 2 minutes is on for the remaining 3 riders, so no work needed on the fence.
So Palovaara here just went into that dirt, and Nicolai KLINDT had absolutely no answer to him there at the front.
BOWTELL just went in a bit quick, didn't he? He's got too much drive there going into that bend, couldn't quite hang on to it. He's fine, he's having a chat with Ben Barker as they walk back across the centre green, so that's good to see.
Yeah, so we've got the rerun here with the exclusion of Alfie BOWTELL, and Nicolai KLINDT really needs to have a think about what's going to happen here. Palovaara off the outside, he had absolutely focus on what he was going to do there. He knew exactly what he was going to do. He got to the first turn and executed the move perfectly.
So 2 of Gladiators' first race heat winners have both had falls in their second outings, which is disappointing. Joe Thompson and then, of course, Alfie BOWTELL there.
Number 3, Jonatan GRAHN, Edinburgh Monarchs. In yellow, number 6, Palovaara.
Just waiting for the rider in red, Nicolai KLINDT, to come out and join the 2 Monarchs already at the tapes. Here he comes. He'll be hoping to produce that gate again, but this time hang on to the lead. But as we said, Palovaara is a very impressive man, particularly in the reserve berth.
So the lineup here then for the rerun of heat number 6: Nicolai KLINDT off the inside in red, Jonatan GRAHN off of gate 2 in white, Victor Palovaara off of gate 4 in yellow, and there will be no rider off of gate 3 here with the exclusion of the rider in blue, Alfie BOWTELL. So here we go then, Nicolai KLINDT here. This is what Gladiators were missing last year, was an out-and-out number 1 to do this sort of job.
And now they need him to deliver in this one.
So riders are at the tapes here for heat number 7. Tapes go up, away they go, and KLINDT's made a good start once again. And it is Palovaara who's come in. He switched up the inside this time, and Nicolai KLINDT has kept him at bay. That's a good ride, a good first turn from Nicolai KLINDT.
Yeah, he drifted a bit wider there to shut the door on Palovaara. He knew what was coming, and this is the Nicolai KLINDT we expect to see as Gladiators number 1, stretching that lead at the front, and this is much better from Nicolai.
A fabulous ride here so far for the Plymouth Gladiators number 1. He's pulling away from Victor Palovaara, who finds himself in second place for the 3rd time this evening. 1 more lap to go for Nicolai KLINDT.
Yeah, crucial for the Gladiators this to stop the Monarchs stretching that lead, and this will do him the world of good. He had a good gate, he managed to hang on to that lead, and he'll be thrilled with that race victory.
Yeah, cracking win there from Nicolai KLINDT, the Plymouth Gladiators number 1. He takes a good win there ahead of the 2 Swedish riders for the Edinburgh Monarchs, and he takes the adulation of the crowd as he goes down the back straight. Great win there from Nicolai KLINDT. So Nicolai KLINDT there really had to perform, and he performed under pressure. He'd learnt from Victor Palovaara's opening ride in the first running of that race, and Julie took the win. Here are the results then, the official results of heat 6. A win for KLINDT in red, 3 points to him, 2 points to Palovaara in yellow, 1 point to GRAHN in white. No score there for Alfie BOWTELL, excluded from the rerun. It's another 3-all, which means now it's 17 points to the Gladiators, 19 to the Monarchs.
Yeah, we'll have a slight delay here because Jonatan GRAHN has got 2 on the trot, unless he gets replaced in the next one, but you'd expect him to come out with Paco CASTAGNA.
So here we go then, KLINDT here. This first turn was where all the hard work was done. He knew what Palovaara was probably going to do, and as you said, Nigel, he just drifted across the front of him and pulled away.
Yeah, as you said, he learned from that first race, didn't he, where he didn't go wide enough and Palovaara came around the outside of him that time. And Palovaara did his best to try and switch back underneath him, but couldn't quite get the drive, and KLINDT held on. And And a valuable 3 points there for the Gladiators in a meeting, of course, that Garry May said in the media this week's a must-win, isn't it, after the home defeat to Glasgow Tigers last week. If they're going to have any hopes of making those playoffs, they, according to Garry May, needed to win tonight.
Yeah, and they had a call to sort of a rallying cry before earlier in the season and managed to beat Paul Pirates, didn't they, here after a rallying call? So it has worked. Here's the gate stats so far, and yeah, gate 1 clearly is the favourable gate at the moment, but the other 3 are scoring points fairly evenly.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Gate 4's had no heat wins, but it's had more points gained than gates 2 and 3, which is slightly unusual.
So heat 7 then is coming onto the circuit here, and we have got the captain once again coming to the tapes.
Just looking for updates from Berwick and Paul.
Busy night in the championship this evening, with action in Berwick as well.
Yeah, Berwick, after 5 races, Berwick 17, Paul 13. So
here we go then, the lineup for heat number 7. We've got off the inside here, going back-to-back rides here. Jonatan GRAHN in white, Ben Barker is off of gate 2 in red, Paco CASTAGNA off of gate 3 in yellow, and Lasse FREDRIKSEN off of gate 4 in blue. And we've got 2 first heat winners here for the Gladiators, Nigel.
Yeah, there should be some race this. Let's hope they have better fortunes than the other 2 heat winners the Gladiators had earlier in BOWTELL and Thompson. But yeah, this should be some race, this.
Yeah, Jonatan GRAHN, he's looked quite good so far, Jonatan GRAHN. He's packed in the points, he's been paid for so far, so he's certainly doing his job here.
Edinburgh have only provided 1 race winner so far, but it's those minor placings that they're doing so well at.
Absolutely, yeah. So here we go then, heat number 7 is at the tapes. And tapes up, away they go. It's a very even start. Ben Barker heads into the first turn. He's been forced into the dirt, and all of a sudden the Monarchs lead 1 and 2.
Yeah, Jonatan GRAHN is out front with Paco CASTAGNA second, and it's well, Ben Barker and Lasse FREDRIKSEN locked together, trying to lead the chase after the Monarchs. Having a little race on their own at the moment, but FREDRIKSEN it is who now takes up the challenge as he tries to close down on Paco CASTAGNA.
So from the Gladiators' perspective, this is not good news at all, but a great ride here from the Edinburgh Monarchs. A brilliant first corner from both Paco CASTAGNA and Jonatan GRAHN, but now Lasse FREDRIKSEN is starting to mount a challenge.
Yeah, they're looking very good, the Monarchs out front. They've, we said Jonatan GRAHN has been really good chipping in the minor placing so far, but he's going to pick up his first race win of the night, his first race win around this Coliseum track, and that's an excellent 5-1 for the Edinburgh Monarchs.
It is an excellent 5-1, and Jonatan GRAHN here goes on to a paid 9 so far after 3 rides, so he is in tremendous form so far for the Monarchs, and certainly any of our Scottish viewers watching the Monarchs are going to be delighted to see Jonatan GRAHN going so well. It's a paid 7 actually. That shows my maths up a little bit, doesn't it? It's a good job I don't teach children or anything. So a heat 7 win there, but a 5-1 there really does affect this meeting quite considerably. Here is the official result. Heat 7, it was a win for Jonatan GRAHN. 3 points to him in white, 2 points to Paco CASTAGNA in yellow, 1 point there to Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue, and no score there for Ben Barker in red. 5-1 to the Monarchs, 18 points for the Gladiators now, 24 to the Monarchs. All of a sudden a 6-point lead emerges.
And that's all 4 of Gladiators' early heat winners have all not had very good second outings, which is very disappointing. All different fortunes, crashes and all sorts going on, but great bit of gating there, wasn't it, from the Monarchs duo?
It looked as though it was a great first turn. GRAHN took care of Barker, whilst CASTAGNA took care of FREDRIKSEN, and it was really a picture-perfect first 2 bends there for the Monarchs.
And as hard as FREDRIKSEN tried, they never really looked a prospect of him catching CASTAGNA there.
No, they rode really well. Look at that team riding there. around that first turn. They really were doing the business there for the Monarchs. So it now means that we've got 18 points to 24, and we've got some reserve changes coming up in heat number 8. So we assume that Garry May very quickly is going to react to what's going on the track.
Yeah, of course, 6 points down. They could do a tactical, but obviously not in heat 8 because that's a protected race. So the only changes we can see in this race are reserve changes, and I haven't heard what they are, but I'm imagining it's going to be Lasse FREDRIKSEN in place of Ben Trigger, and Victor Palovaara, I would think, in place of Sonny SPRINGER.
So yeah, that's some good predictions there, Nigel, because our director's telling us in our ear you are bang on. So, so very good, well done. So Palovaara will be in yellow, and suddenly this becomes a very stiff-looking heat here.
It's a cracking heat, though, isn't it? It's a really competitive heat 8.
I did just look to my left and saw Ben Trigger sat up next to us, so it was on the wall there that he wasn't going to be in this one. But Palovaara yet to win a race, of course. He's had second places throughout the evening, despite looking fast.
Of course, last night against Paul, he had 6 heat wins and a 3rd place and a monumental total of 19.
Yeah, that's a decent night for anybody, that, to be fair. So he's definitely in form, that's for sure.
Of course, Sonny SPRINGER will have to come out again for his 3rd ride. Must have 3 rides, so whether they'll do a reserve switch of Palovaara or whether he'll keep his place in his program ride in heat 14 remains to be seen. But yeah, the Gladiators need to eat into this deficit, don't they?
So here we go then, heat number 8 is at the tapes. We have got in gate 1 here Victor Palovaara coming in yellow. We've got Lasse FREDRIKSEN here coming in blue. Kye Thompson is off of gate 3 in white, and Alfie BOWTELL in red off the outside.
Well, all 4 riders have had their moments tonight, good moments as well. So, as I said, this has got the prospects of being a really cracking race. Tough one to call, this.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Kye Thompson has looked very fast as well. He's currently on paid 5 there, so he's been doing a job as well. So here we go then, heat number 8 is at the tapes. The start marshal is waiting for everyone to be in position. And tapes go up, away they go, and FREDRIKSEN has made an absolute flyer there off of the inside gate, but Alfie BOWTELL's been squeezed out on the outside, but Lasse FREDRIKSEN leads, but he has got the rider in white buzzing around the outside of him.
Oh, that's a great overtake there by Kye Thompson. You're just singing his praises. That was superb. He managed to get around the outside of FREDRIKSEN going across the start-finish line, and he's out front leading, and his teammate Palovaara is in 3rd place.
That's a tremendous ride there from the rider in white, Kye Thompson. He really was absolutely committed coming around the outside, and he leads at the moment. There's a little bump going into this first turn, and I think it's throwing the riders a little bit wide, but Kye Thompson absolutely used it to his advantage. He's going to come round this bend, and he's going to confirm another heat win there. Although he's shaking his head as he goes past, but he must be delighted with what he's just done.
I don't know why he shook his head there. That was strange. I think he'd be punching the air in delight, but just shaking hands there with Lasse FREDRIKSEN. But that stretches the Monarchs' lead here to 8 points after 8 races.
A brilliant performance there from Kye Thompson. He went right round the outside on bends 3 and 4, and then absolutely threw it into this bottom bend here, bends 1 and 2. And roared away for a clinical win there. So the results then of heat number 8, it was a win in white for Kye Thompson, 3 points to him, 2 points to Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue, 1 point to Victor Palovaara in yellow. No score there for Alfie BOWTELL in red. 4-2 to the Monarchs means, as Nigel said, it's now 28 points to 20 in the favour of the visitors, and this is starting to get away from the Gladiators.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a tactical. If I was Garry May, I'd be putting Nicolai KLINDT out as a tactical in red in heat number 9. We shall see. We're going to have a track grade before that, but 8 points adrift. Garry May's got to do something, and KLINDT, after his last outing, would be the obvious one to go out in red.
So FREDRIKSEN made a good start, but look at Kye Thompson here. He decides what he's going to do here. He goes into the dirt, And Fredrikssen's just got no speed on the inside. Past comes Thompson, throws it back in. Look at that commitment there into the dirt. And Kye Thompson confirms a 4-2 there with that move for the Monarchs.
He's another one of these riders, Kye Thompson, who's got the ability, and he can be excellent, but it's just that consistency again that he lacks. I think last year when he came down with Edinburgh, he got 1 point. I think he had some bike problems that night. But on his day, you know, he can be absolute mustard, and he really showed it in that race.
So we are going to have a look at some previous action here at the Coliseum now. So over to some previous action.
Heat number 9 with red campers. Justin Sedgmen off gate number 1 in white for the Edinburgh Monarchs. Carl Newman in blue from gate number 2 for the Gladiators. Josh Pickering, tactical substitute, in yellow from gate 3. Dan Thompson in red from gate number 4. Heat number 9. Unusual scorelines, a 3-2 in heat number 1 in favour of the Gladiators, and a 5-0 for the Gladiators in heat 2. Right now, heat 9.
Justin Sedgmen there doing exactly what he didn't like Alfie for. Getting right close to the first turn, but here we go.
Good start here though from the Gladiators. Perfect start, and blocking out the Edinburgh Monarchs, who are trying to get themselves back into this. Their tactical substitute Josh Pickering currently at the back. Justin Sedgmen trying to battle his way back into this and put some pressure on Carl Newman and Dan Thompson, but it's not working so far. Pico hitting the fence.
Yeah, he went in big and deep there, going in there the first turn. He still managed to win control of the bike. Carl Newman, he's working overtime in that second position, trying to hang on to that position. He's got the Monarchs breathing all over him.
Josh Pickering then really putting pressure on Carl Newman now. Into the final lap we go. Carl Newman just about holding on, blocking the run of Josh Pickering. Into the final lap. Josh Pickering holding it strong. Carl Newman though holding stronger. Final roll of the dice for the Edinburgh Monarchs, and for the tactical substitute there, Josh Pickering, and quite the opposite to what John Campbell and the Edinburgh Monarchs would have been hoping for. It's a 5-1 in favour of the Plymouth Gladiators to really assert themselves now here, and the crowd are loving this. They've had to wait a long time for some racing, a long time for the action to restart here after that break. But it's all going the way of the Gladiators now after that little resurgence from the Edinburgh Monarchs.
So that was action last year, but whilst we've still got the track prep going on, we've grabbed our first rider, Ben Triggers, with us. Evening, Ben. You've had a couple of rides. It's tough at the moment. It looks quite tough.
Yeah, the track's a bit different to what it has been in previous weeks. Not exactly sure why, it just seemed a bit wetter. But no, obviously I made a couple changes to my clutch, but pre-meeting on parade and just before heat 2. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. I've been making good starts through the season, really, and today I've made, well, 2 shockers by my standards. Heat 2 just wasn't as aggressive as I needed to be. Didn't really get over, and got filled in pretty bad. So kind of tried to forget that one and go out to heat 4 and try and do something better, which my start wasn't much better. I went straight up again, but I was lucky that Sonny went straight up as well. So just kind of tried to tuck in and ride my own race. But yeah, I'm just trying to make some setup changes because the track's weird. I go from spinning 1 minute and then it's pulling my arms off. So obviously I've had a bit of a wait now. Don't know when I'm next out either. Programmed through in heat 12, so we'll see how that goes, but obviously the track's changing a lot, so I've got to try and guess a setup for my next ride, and we'll go from there.
We were saying the four Gladiators that won their first rides have struggled in their second rides, which almost like indicates how difficult it is to find the setup.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously we turn up 1 week and the track's how it is, and then we turn up the next and it's different again, and I think with the last 3 weeks we've had different starts, which obviously I know it's hard to get these starts dialed. You get the same ruts. The 2 on gate 4. Every rider that comes in knows that they're there. But no, I'm still trying to adapt. Obviously I had a year away, so I'm still trying to learn everything all over again. And my setup changes from last year, 2 years ago, whatever, to this year are completely different. But just on a personal note, it's more frustrating than anything else because I've had, I think 2 or 3 good meetings on the bounce, and scoring 6 or 7 points here and there, and obviously now I'm sat here today on 1 point, so you know it's just a little kick in the teeth for myself, but you know only I can change that, and looking to rectify it in whenever my next ride is.
And obviously tomorrow you've got a long drive ahead of you up to the British Under-21 final at Glasgow. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we had a good one in the semi, maybe not as well as I'd like to have done, but obviously the main thing is that I qualified, so yeah. I'd be lying if I wasn't lying the final from last year when I was up there, so you know I am trying to do a bit of homework, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going up there. Obviously scoring as many points as I can, obviously get as high up the overall table as I can, but yeah, obviously as soon as we finish here today, we're jumping straight in the van and driving up, so I think we'll get there about 6 in the morning, get a kip in, and then produce some magic at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
And I think you got Joe Thompson in your first race, haven't you, tomorrow? So
I don't even know who's in the lineup. I'm trying not to look, and I'm just you know, trying to focus on myself, but yeah, obviously, there's a few boys out there that I want to get my nose over. So, you know, if I can go out and beat Joe in the first heat, then I've got bragging rights.
You've definitely come on this season. We talked about it ourselves earlier, and so you know this time 2 years ago, 1 point at this stage, you wouldn't have been too fast, but we can tell from your body language and your language you're using, you expect a lot more of yourself now.
Yeah, definitely. It might not help that I've had such a good start to the season. I know I've been looking at the averages that have been changing through the week, and you know, I'm trying to take it as a confidence boost, but at the same time I'm also putting that pressure on myself, which is probably why I'm talking like it, because I expect to do more. But no, obviously I'm still learning, I'm still 18, so got many more years to perfect my craft, and yeah, hopefully I can rectify it today and try and get back on the terms that I want to be on.
Well, let's hope so from a team perspective as well as an individual perspective, because at the moment this 8-point gap has emerged, and that's a worry at this point for the Gladiators. I don't know I don't know how much you've spoken to the other boys down there, but what's the mood at the moment? I'd imagine that people are, well, where are we?
Just really judging by body language. You know, I've been trying to get in my own head and basically tell me that I'm good, just so I can go out and do it. But no, yeah, body language within the pits. Obviously, I know Alfie and Joe have taken a couple of falls. But no, it's very much like we said on track walk as well. It's all at the starts, and I think everyone's still trying to adapt. And well, like in Nicolai in that last one, you know, he gets out the start and he's gone by an absolute mile. So yeah, it's just a case of everyone's kind of asking everyone what we're doing off the start, what we're changing. But no. Like I say, everyone's still trying to bed in. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to try and bed in early, but you know, we're taking every race as it is and every meeting as it is, and obviously, we got a tack sub in this one, so claw some points back and hopefully bring this back and turn it around for a win. Great stuff, Ben. Well, you are good, so get that in your head. Go and get yourself set, and yeah, we'll speak to you later on. Yeah, thank you very much, mate. Yeah, he does need a bit of belief there, the boy, because he has been going well this season, hasn't he?
He certainly has. He shouldn't be so down on himself. It's everyone has a bad day every now and then, but he can be really encouraged with his form so far this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, we've got Heat 9 coming out onto the circuit, and the Monarchs here are already at tapes. I don't know if you want to read too much into that, but here is the lineup for Heat 9. So Kye Thompson off of gate 1 here in white after that sensational ride earlier on. Joe Thompson here off of gate 2 in blue, Victor Palovaara off of gate 3 in yellow, and Ben Barker off the outside here, tactical sub off the outside here in red.
Yeah, I got the tactical sub right, but not the right rider. Ben Barker it is, which is an interesting one, because he came last in his last race, and Nicolai KLINDT won his previous outing, but Garry May obviously knows what he's doing and which riders to put out, and of course Thompson is out for the rider replacement for Oscar Pollis, and Edinburgh covering for him really well so far. That looked to be a real blow to them coming down here tonight, but I'm sure their management are thrilled to be being a rider down and still 8 points in front.
Yeah, they're certainly not feeling it at the moment, and I'm just looking at where Ben Barker is lining his bike up. He talked about this when we did the under-21s. He talked about this little groove that emerges halfway through the meeting, right on the outside by the boards, and I can see that is where Ben has been preparing before this race. So he's hoping to fire himself from that right on the outside here in heat number 9. So tapes up, away they go, and it's the riders on the inside that make the best start. In fact, it's Joe Thompson that leads. Palovaara goes wide, Ben Barker comes up the inside, blocks Palovaara, and now sets about going around the outside as well. Ben Barker is absolutely flying here, just touches the boards as he goes past the referee's box.
Yeah, Joe Thompson trying to trap Kye Thompson on the inside, allowing Barker to go around the outside, but Ben just ran out of room there going down that home straight, and Kye Thompson putting up a great show here again, putting Joe Thompson under a lot of pressure, and Joe wheelies down that back straight before getting things back under control. Oh, it's so tight, crossing in for the last lap.
So Joe Thompson is trying to put the squeeze on Kye Thompson, and Ben Barker's now very close. This is a tremendous race here in heat number 9. Joe Thompson is trying to block, Ben Barker's got nowhere to go, and they come across the line absolutely together. Crucially, Joe Thompson keeps on to that lead, and it's a 4-2 for the Gladiators. Ben Barker tried his best to find a gap. Kye Thompson tried his best to find a gap as well. Brilliant racing at high speed there. Close quarters for 4 laps there between Barker, Thompson and Thompson, but it's a win for Joe Thompson in blue.
Yeah, excellent from Joe Thompson, and great battling again there from Kye Thompson, just keeping Ben Barker behind him, but didn't get the 5-1 that maybe the Gladiators hoped for there from that tactical, but they've certainly eaten into that lead for the Monarchs, and the gap's now just 6.
So the results of heat 9, it was a win for Joe Thompson in blue, 3 points to him, 2 points to Kye Thompson in white, 1 point to Ben Barker in red. No score there for Victor Palovaara, who really hasn't had the night that we'd predicted this evening. 4-2 to the Gladiators, and that's just another 2 points back there for the home team, 24 points to 30. We've still got this 6-point gap.
And it's Nicolai KLINDT out in heat number 10 against Jonatan GRAHN and Paco CASTAGNA, of course, who rattled in that 5-1 last time that pairing were out in heat number 7.
Yeah, they've been going well. Jonatan GRAHN had a great ride in that race where he went back to back as well there. So this time he's off of gate number 3, Jonatan GRAHN, but he came off of gate 1 brilliantly earlier on in the meeting. So here we go then. We're almost at tapes here, and we'll have a look at the lineup.
Here
for
comes
this meeting.
Alfie BOWTELL.
So heat 10 then, the lineup. Off the inside here, Paco CASTAGNA off of gate 1 in yellow. Alfie BOWTELL off of gate 2 in blue.
I think that's Lasse FREDRIKSEN actually.
So yeah, we've got a change here. Jonatan GRAHN is off of gate 3 in white. Nicolai KLINDT is off of gate 4 in red. And that is Lasse FREDRIKSEN who's coming in here in blue in place of Alfie BOWTELL.
Yeah, Alfie, of course, won his first race, but then had that fall and then a last place. So Garry May, again, making the changes here. FREDRIKSEN has got 6 points from his first 3 rides, so he's been one of the stronger Gladiators performers this evening. And going into this as a reserve ride, partnering Nicolai KLINDT.
And they really need to perform here, because as you said, GRAHN and CASTAGNA pulled off an excellent 5-1 in their last ride. They're off of 1 and 3 here, and potentially off of the favoured gates as well in 1 and 3. So up against it here, Nicolai KLINDT. He needs to make a good start, as does Lasse FREDRIKSEN. And they have been gating well, but often chasing that inside line, and the Monarchs seem more comfortable with chasing the dirt. Nicolai KLINDT is taking a long time here to come into line. Eventually he comes to tapes.
Should be another great race, this one.
So heat number 10 then is at the tapes. And tapes up, and there's a problem at the start here. I can only imagine that there wasn't a light on or something happened, because from where we were standing you couldn't see anything, but the riders clearly weren't ready.
I don't think the green light came on. I think that was the issue. The two riders on the outside in red and white who were looking at the green light, I think, and that didn't come on. The 2 riders on the inside shot off.
Yeah.
But it was obviously one rider from each side who didn't move at all there, so obviously an unsatisfactory start, and we shall go again.
Yeah, they should be back to start very quickly, I'd have thought, but interesting tactics here from Garry May. He's obviously throwing the dice here at this point. This could be the crucial part of the meeting at this point. Obviously the Gladiators have tended to lose a lot of their races towards the back end of the meeting, but things started to go awry in the middle of the meeting this time, and Gary's very quickly responded to it.
Well, he put FREDRIKSEN out, didn't he, in heat number 8. That was his first change, and that was a 4-2 to the Monarchs. Then, obviously, Ben Barker's a tactical that got a 4-2 back for the Gladiators, and now FREDRIKSEN out again here as they try and close this gap a little bit more on the Monarchs. But, as I said before, this two, GRAHN and CASTAGNA, got a 5-1 last time.
So let's try again there with heat number 10. Once again, off the inside, Paco CASTAGNA in yellow, and Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue. Jonatan GRAHN, gate 3 in white, and Nicolai KLINDT once again off the outside here in red. So you can see that those riders there off of gates 1 and 2 are ready. So here we go then, everybody's ready for the rerun of heat 10. And tapes up, away they go, they're all away this time. FREDRIKSEN makes an excellent start. Jonatan GRAHN is going into the dirt once again, he's not quite got enough this time. It's FREDRIKSEN that leads, but KLINDT is at the back, so it's a 3-all as it stands.
Yeah, KLINDT got squeezed out again, didn't quite get the gate, but he's come in hard underneath Paco CASTAGNA, and Nicolai KLINDT has nipped up into 3rd place, and now he's got Jonatan GRAHN in his sights.
He's having a go here, Nicolai KLINDT. He looked like he was out there at the beginning of the race. He's got past CASTAGNA and now he's chasing after Jonatan GRAHN. This will be very valuable points if Nicolai KLINDT can do this, although as he drifts off the line, Paco CASTAGNA is still not too far away.
No, CASTAGNA will keep him honest here for the final lap. KLINDT sticking to that inside line. CASTAGNA is going to have to go around the long way if he's going to get past KLINDT, but KLINDT holds on, and it's a 4-2 to the Gladiators.
So a brilliant tactical substitution there from Garry May to bring in Lasse FREDRIKSEN there. He takes the win. Unfortunately, Nicolai KLINDT only finishing in 3rd, but crucially it's a heat advantage to the home side. They claw another 2 points back here, and things are starting to tighten up once again. Super win there for the Norwegian rider Lasse FREDRIKSEN.
Yeah, once again, Jonatan GRAHN showing his liking for this track with a 2nd place there for the Monarchs, but Nicolai KLINDT still cutting a bit of a frustrated figure. He did put the thumbs up to Garry May though, he's come out to congratulate him, but that's a valuable 3rd place by him.
So here's the heat 10 result then. It was a win for Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue. 3 points to him, 2 points to Jonatan GRAHN in white, 1 point to Nicolai KLINDT in red. No score there for Paco CASTAGNA in yellow. It's a 4-2 to the Gladiators, which means we are now at 28 points to 32. So this gap has gone from 8 points to 4. They've halved it in 2 races. And we're going to have another look at how they did that here in heat number 10. So FREDRIKSEN absolutely made a flyer here, and that was really meant that he could dictate this first corner. FREDRIKSEN, he kept the thing down. Look at that, straight into the first bend in first. He was able to shuffle Jonatan GRAHN a little bit wider than he wanted to go. And CASTAGNA, what happened to CASTAGNA here?
He just, I don't know, he looked off to the right, didn't he? Did he just...
I don't think he was expecting to see Nicolai KLINDT up the inside.
That gate 4's been a real graveyard gate so far tonight, isn't it? It's, I'm struggling to think of anyone who's actually made a start off gate 4 so far.
Yeah, it's been tough to get over, but we've got heat 11 coming up here, and Lasse FREDRIKSEN is due to be out in this one too. So,
well, that would be his 4th outing in the last 5 heats if he comes out. I know we had a track grade in the middle of that, but he's a busy boy, isn't he? He's already had. He's had 4 rides, so that would be his 5th ride.
And there's no, he probably will go again. I would think he could be on for 7 this evening if you look at the heats. But he's what's he on so far? 9 points so far, Lasse FREDRIKSEN. So
heat 12 will be something that Garry May will have his eye on, because at the moment it's Mitchell Cluff and Ben Trigger against Jonatan GRAHN and Victor Palovaara. And on form tonight so far, that would be a worry for the Monarchs. But as we were just hearing from Ben Trigger, you know, he's just needs to believe in himself a bit more in that one. Yeah,
he certainly does, and he's yeah, we assume he will go in Heat 12 because he's
got to have another ride, hasn't he?
So not, he will go in Heat 14 against Sonny Springer because Sonny Springer also needs another ride. So there's lots of tactical decisions to be made by both of the team managers going into these last few heats.
Yeah, it is Fredriksson coming out for his 4th ride in 5 races.
Yeah, he's very busy, Lasse FREDRIKSEN, but very good value, as we've said. He's very quick off the start, and he's got Ben Barker backing him up here in this one.
To have an average of 4.67, to have 9 points and 4 rides.
So the lineup then for heat number 11, we've got Ben Barker off the inside here in red, Justin Sedgmen off of gate 2 in white, Lasse FREDRIKSEN off gate 3 in blue, and Kye Thompson off of gate 4. And yet this is a tasty lineup, this one, Nigel.
Every race is at the moment. That it's 2 good-looking sides tonight, isn't it? It's you know, Edinburgh will be delighted. They've looked solid all the way down. Even Sonny Springer's weighed in with paid 2. And as I said, most of the Gladiators have picked up a win at some point. Obviously, Bentrig and Mitchell Cluff the exceptions, but it's just again, it's consistency across the board, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Sedgmen and Thompson looked rapid in their last rides as well. So yeah, this is a stiff ask here, but Lasse FREDRIKSEN has been gating well. Ben Barker is a very, very quick rider. So tapes up, away they go, and into the first turn it's FREDRIKSEN and Barker who lead. Barker's on the inside, FREDRIKSEN on the outside. Kye Thompson's trying to go around the outside, but now we've got the Gladiators in 1 and 2, and they've got to try and defend this lead.
Yeah, if they can hang on here, it'll be all tied up at 33 points apiece, but the 2 Monarchs aren't going to give this up without really pushing Kye Thompson down that back straight, trying to put pressure on Ben Barker. He's really on his tail now. He tries the inside, he gets underneath Ben Barker, pushes Barker wide. Thompson just about hangs on.
Absolutely flying here, Kye Thompson. He's pushed Barker wide, and Ben Barker is not going to like that here. Now Kye Thompson is chasing after Lasse FREDRIKSEN. This is a really determined ride from Kye Thompson. From a Monarchs perspective, you've got to be delighted with the heart being shown, but it's not enough because the Gladiators secure a 4-2, and they further eat into this Monarchs lead. So Barker will be disappointed with being beaten there by Kye Thompson, but crucially kept hold of that 3rd place. And Lasse FREDRIKSEN, what can you say about Lasse FREDRIKSEN? He is absolutely flying once again, taking a heat win, and he is brilliant value for this Gladiators outfit this evening. So the results then of heat number 11, it was a win for Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue, 3 points to him, 2 points to Kye Thompson in yellow, 1 point to Ben Barker in red, no score for Justin Sedgmen in white. 4-2 to the Gladiators, and it's now 32 points to 34. Things are getting very tight here at the Coliseum.
And the good thing is FREDRIKSEN's still got 2 races he can take. So of his 7, he's got 12 points and 5 rides. But once again, the inside gate's proving a lot better here than the outside gates.
FREDRIKSEN made an absolute flyer here, and Barker was there with him. But Kye Thompson, he was absolutely on it here, really committed right up into Ben's 1 and 2, right up into the dirt, and that is how he was able to generate enough speed. Here you can see Thompson here, look at this, generating speed. He has another go up on Ben's 3 and 4, up into the dirt. And there it is, the switchback, and up the inside he goes. Great ride there from Kye Thompson, right up the inside, moved Ben Barker over. Barker was fully committed to that outside, but was just pushed a little bit too wide. A great ride there from Kye Thompson, who for a moment looked like he was going to go and have a go at FREDRIKSEN as well.
Takes a good rider to do that to Ben Barker, doesn't it, around Plymouth?
It does around here. Certainly does around here. So we go to heat number 12, and we're hearing that FREDRIKSEN could be coming out again here in this next ride. So certainly making sure Lasse FREDRIKSEN, certainly Garry May making sure that Lasse FREDRIKSEN's being used.
There's 5 out of 6 he'll have
incredible
ridden. As I said, though, that was the heat with GRAHN and Palovaara out for Edinburgh. It's a very strong pairing. Latest score up at Shieldfield Park is Berwick Bandits 37, Poole Pirates 29. So that's What do we got? We got 4 races to go there. So the Bandits have got an 8-point lead. Zach Cook's the slight disappointment for the Pirates there tonight. He's only picked up 2 points from his 3 rides so far. Richard Lawson scoring heavily. Darragh Richings just got 1. The pool reserves, the reserves almost evening themselves out there. Dale Wood and Jack Smith have got 5, and Paul Stark, Darragh Richings have got 3.
So interesting stuff on the Scottish border. But down here in Devon, we have got a bit of a blockbuster coming up, because we've only got 2 points in it. After the Monarchs pulled away a little bit, we've now got only 2 points in it. And here is the lineup then for Heat 12. Mitchell Cluff off the inside here for the Gladiators. Gate 1 in red. Victor Palovaara off of Gate 2 in yellow. Lasse FREDRIKSEN comes out once again here. Gate 3 in blue. And Jonatan GRAHN off the outside. Gate 4 in white.
Mitchell Cluff had to come out here because he had to have his 3rd programmed ride. So if Garry May was going to make a change, it was going to be in place of Ben Trigger, and Ben Trigger's still got to have 1 more ride. So I would imagine he will come into Heat 14, as you mentioned earlier, Gareth.
Yeah, and let's hope that that Mitchell Cluff and Ben Trigger, from a Gladiators perspective at least, are fired up by the fact that they've had their rides restricted a little bit. Mitchell Cluff off of Gate 1 here. He is, as we've said, he can make a gate when he needs to, and he could do something here, but FREDRIKSEN off of 3 is the one to watch, really. Tapes go up, away they go. And here's the rider in yellow who makes the start, Victor Palovaara. He goes across the front of the corner, loses all traction, and now up the inside goes the rider in white. Fabulous racing early on, but look at Lasse FREDRIKSEN, he's got himself in front again.
Yeah, Palovaara's going around the outside and ran out of room, and that allowed FREDRIKSEN through, and a good challenge there from GRAHN, but FREDRIKSEN again just piling on the points of the Gladiators. Always on a one-man mission here for Plymouth.
Sorry Nigel, Jonatan GRAHN looking very fast in that 2nd place. He is making ground on Lasse FREDRIKSEN once again.
It's very tight, the Monarchs aren't giving this up. FREDRIKSEN coming under pressure from GRAHN down that back straight, but I think he's just about going to hang on. And
that's close to the line. It's very close to the line.
Very tight.
Very close, and in fact, Lasse FREDRIKSEN
slid off. He's fine. He slid off after completing the race, but I think he just probably beat GRAHN by half a wheel there.
Wow, he's given it absolutely everything, hasn't he? Coming into that last race, he's just had, what was it, 7 rides, and there's to confirm he is the Heat 12 winner, and that is absolutely crucial. Look at that, 15 points there from 6 rides, and he gets an enormous round of applause. Goodness me, that is a dedicated rider right there from Lasse FREDRIKSEN. Here's the results of Heat 12. A win for Lasse FREDRIKSEN, 3 points to him in blue, 2 points to Jonatan GRAHN in white, 1 point to Victor Palovaara in yellow. No score for Mitchell Cluff in red. A 3-all means that we are still very tight here. 35 points to 37. FREDRIKSEN there once again. He made a good start, but he had to fight for it here, as off the start they went. Look at the Edinburgh Monarchs pairing. Palovaara, he looked over his shoulder as he left the gate, and the bike reared, and I think that's what caused him the problem there.
And FREDRIKSEN shut the door on him, and then by doing that almost allowed GRAHN up the inside. But FREDRIKSEN outstanding, and as we said earlier, this is against his former club as well, so it seemed to be a great signing by Garry May when he made it in the winter to have FREDRIKSEN at reserve. I mean, the way he's going, he's not going to be at reserve for long, but while he is, they've got to make the most of it. And 15 points from 6 rides. He's still got 1 more to come as well. And I would imagine that'll be in Heat 15.
Almost certainly he'll be in Heat 15 after the night he's had. But look at this Monarchs pairing. They were all over the back of Lasse FREDRIKSEN. And it got very close on the line, incredibly close on the line. Jonatan GRAHN giving it absolutely everything there. And Lasse FREDRIKSEN, then that's how he ended his marathon.
He must be absolutely shattered after doing 5 of the last 6 races. I know it's not the longest track in the country, but even so, and I think when he hit the fence at the end of that race, I think it was almost through exhaustion, wasn't it?
I'm not surprised. So once again, a look at the stats for the gates here, and
still nothing off gate 4.
Absolutely, no, that is not where you want to be at all at the moment, but the rest of it fairly even.
And if Gladiators did win the toss, of course, the Monarchs almost certainly on those stats will be taking gates 1 and 3 in heat 15. There's a look at the scores, and FREDRIKSEN just stands out a mile for the Gladiators, doesn't he? 15 of their 35 points he's got so far.
Yes, he's certainly been he's been the main man for the Gladiators. And looking at the other side, that's the difference. Look, they've got 3 riders there scoring paid 10 or more, or paid 9 or more. Palovaara yet to win a race, which has been a bit of a surprise, but we know how quick he is. And in that last heat, he made the start, and I think he looked over his shoulder at the crucial time. The bike leapt in front of him and sent him wide, and he got squeezed out. But yes, definitely Kye Thompson and Justin Sedgmen at the top there. Despite Sedgmen only being on 5 points, that doesn't really tell the story, I don't think, for Justin Sedgmen.
It's a rider replacement that's got them 6 points so far from 3 rides.
So we're going to have another look at some previous action now over here at the Coliseum.
Heat 3's lineup with True 7 Group features Kyle Newman off gate number 1 in blue for the Plymouth Gladiators, Lasse FREDRIKSEN in white from gate number 2 for the Monarchs, Dan Thompson in red, gate 3 for the Gladiators, and off the outside in yellow, it's Paco CASTAGNA.
A cracking lineup for the riders to test it.
Heat number 3. Away from the tapes, it's a good start from the Edinburgh Monarchs there. Lasse FREDRIKSEN pinning it to the inside. Paco CASTAGNA dropping to the back though, and the Plymouth Gladiators moving through into 2nd and 3rd, but the lead with the Monarchs through Lasse FREDRIKSEN.
Lasse's made a brilliant start there. He's just riding on that inside line, just a little bit conservative, and it's Kyle Newman that's got himself into 2nd place. He's starting to hunt him down, turning the bike hard there in the middle of the apex of turns 3 and 4. He looks like he's got a little bit more pace than Lasse FREDRIKSEN here, but with the track of the dirt being so low down, can he make a move?
Yeah, Paco CASTAGNA finding life hard at the back there, but he's going a bit deeper into that turn, try and make some ground on Dan Thompson. Into the final lap we go. The lead with Lasse FREDRIKSEN. Kyle Newman trying to get around Lasse FREDRIKSEN, but does have the advantage at the moment. And 3rd place, Dan Thompson, down to the line. It's going to be a 3-3, and the Monarchs get a winner in Heat 3, but a 3-3 overall. FREDRIKSEN with the win, Kyle Newman in 2nd, Dan Thompson 3rd with the 1 point, and Paco CASTAGNA 4th.
Well, it was a ride like that for Lasse FREDRIKSEN riding for Edinburgh against the Monarchs last season that attracted Garry May to bring him into this Gladiators side, and what a great signing it is. And 15 points from 6 rides. Still got 1 more to go, and that could be absolutely crucial in the outcome of this match.
Yeah, I've just been down into the pits, Nigel, and saw if Lassie could come up and talk to us, and you won't be surprised to know he's having a bit of a massage at the moment. He was quite a scene, actually. He was in the pits and he had both his arms lifted up above his head, rubbing his arms, getting him ready, but he looked absolutely shattered.
Well, as I said, in all seriousness, I think that's why he ran into the fence, wasn't it, at the end of that race. I think his arms were so tired he couldn't hang on anymore.
I said to him, I said, once you finish that, if you can spare us 5 minutes to come up to the commentary box, we'd love to have a chat with you. And he kind of breathed heavily and went, okay, mate, I'll try.
He's probably thinking about those 7 or 8 steps that he'd have to climb up to come up to us.
But I don't blame him. Of all of the nights to not have our roving Mike tonight, I would love to have had a chat with him. But if he makes it up, we'll have a chat with Lassie. But I'm sure everyone at home can understand that he's absolutely exhausted right now. So
it's been a shrewd bit of business by Mr. May, though, isn't it, to bring FREDRIKSEN in, and even back in the winter, it looked like a shrewd move, didn't it? It's to have him at reserve as well is a double bonus.
That's the thing. It's the fact that he's at number 6, and being relatively new to Speedway myself, I knew that Lassie rode for the Monarchs at number 2, I believe, and was always in amongst the points. And so when it was announced that he'd be riding for the Gladiators at number 6. That immediately, that's a big opportunity for him to score some heavy points.
And to be fair to Mitchell Cluff, reserve is probably where he needs to be and should be, isn't it? And that'll surely help him when those two switch around, as I imagine it will be Mitchell Cluff who'll drop into the reserve berth. And FREDRIKSEN will move up into the main body of the team. But the way he's riding, it shouldn't really matter for Lasse FREDRIKSEN. He's getting points against all the top boys.
He's beating everyone. But Mitchell Cluff's a good rider. You can see he's a good rider. I mean, his confidence is low at the moment. I think that's the problem with Mitchell. But he's a good rider. He's a solid, tidy rider. But he has been chucked in at the deep end at number 3, having never ridden never ridden this track before, and never ridden the British tracks before. So hopefully he plugs away, and the everyone's patient with him, and we hope that Mitchell he's a nice guy, and clearly knows how to ride a motorbike. But he's just down on his luck a little bit at the moment.
I think we've got the 2 best number 6s in the championship here tonight, haven't we? And Lasse FREDRIKSEN and Victor Palovaara. They're both piling up the points to their sides, and Palovaara even himself tonight has got 8 paid 9, which, by his recent standards isn't as good as he has been, but that's still a good contribution on an away track.
I think Palovaara, particularly now that Oscar Polis is left, I think Palovaara is going to be their sort of MVP of that team. Really, they're going to really need him to carry on performing when he moves up into the main body of the team.
I would imagine he will be out. He had 6 rides, so I imagine he will be the the rider replacement in heat number 13, because they've used Jonatan GRAHN, Kye Thompson. They have had him. I don't think Justin Sedgmen can take a ride, so they could bring him in as a reserve ride, couldn't they, for the rider replacement? So I'd imagine he will come out to partner Justin Sedgmen in heat number 13, and of course Nicolai KLINDT and Ben Barker. And here is the man.
So here he is, Lasse FREDRIKSEN. Absolutely. Well, I just was telling everybody I got to the pits and you looked absolutely exhausted. So we were a bit worried about you getting up the stairs just now, but recovering nicely now.
Yeah, I was a bit exhausted. Can't even remember the heat, so I had to let go of the bike there, and got so tired. Got pushed 4 laps by the Monarchs, and it was a good fight.
Every race you've had looks like you've not just gone away from and had it easy. You've had people on your tail, but 15 points. You must be delighted.
Yeah, for sure. It's just worked. I've been getting pretty good, and the last 3 heats I've done 3 on the trot, so I was like a bit tired, obviously, but it's easy when you get from the start, isn't it?
How do you cope? I mean, I think you did 5 out of 6 races you're out in. How does a speedway rider cope? I know there was a track grade in there, but how do you cope with that sort of schedule? Yeah,
and I had this physio guy doing my massage on my arms now to try to get the blood pump out. So it's exhausting, but we just got to get on with it. It's adrenaline, so that's what keeps you going, I guess.
Yeah, you've as I say, down there watching the massager doing his job, I wasn't remotely surprised. But this evening, of course, you've had a crucial job to do, because a lot of the team aren't particularly performing, so you've had to go and do that. There's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm happy to do it. Of course, you want every rider to score the points that they all want, but it's not. Sometimes someone had a bad day, and as a reserve, you've got to step in. And of course, I'm happy to do many heats. I want to do many heats around this track, so I'm happy about it. But I'm going to feel it after the meeting for sure.
I'm sure our Monarchs viewers aren't lost on the fact that you rode for them last year. We were just watching you win a race for Edinburgh here in the meeting last season, and you've done it against your old club.
Yeah, of course, it feels good to. I don't really mind who I'm racing against, but of course it's some friends in that team, which it's always good to beat. But I'm all friends with them, and it's good to see them down here.
You're obviously at number 6, and we were literally just talking about the fact that for Edinburgh you used to ride at number 2, and now you're at number 6. And when everybody saw that at the beginning of the season, this is what we predicted would happen.
Yeah, of course. Riding at number 2 at Edinburgh was hard, but I felt like I adapted. So it's good to be at number 6 to get many heats under my belt here, and to get properly dialed in before the season properly goes starting.
I'm going to say you must be pleased how it's gone so far around this track. You've really hit the ground running, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy with how I've done so far. It's only my second meeting, which is a bit weird, but yeah, now I'm back for good. International meetings is done, so I'm looking forward to be here like almost every Saturday in the coming weeks and months. So yeah, more to come.
Well, the crowd here are going to be absolutely delighted with that, Lasse, because you'll very quickly becoming a very popular member of the team. So good luck for the rest of the evening. I hazard a guess that it's probably not the last of you this evening.
Oh, I don't think so. So I need to get down and get ready for the last one.
Yeah, back to that massage, I think, Lasse. Yeah, good luck and have a good end to the evening.
Cheers, guys. See
Thanks, Lasse.
Great stuff. Thank you, Lasse. Thank you. Great stuff. So good to have Lasse up with us, given the fact he's had so much going on. Other riders have kept themselves to themselves, but he's having a go. I've just got Ben Barker over here, so I think I'm just going to go and grab him, Nigel, if you want to just have a chat with everybody for a minute.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, FREDRIKSEN has 4 heat wins in his 6 rides, and you would think almost certainly going to come out in Heat 15, the nominated riders heat. It's, as Gareth went to get Ben Barker, he just disappeared down the steps, so he's just gone to pursue him. But yeah, he's been absolutely crucial for the Gladiators in this comeback, and when we saw how delighted Garry MAY was with the efforts of that rider, because after he picked himself up after dropping the bike into the fence, he gave him a big high five and looked absolutely delighted at his tactical changes tonight for Garry MAY have worked really well, haven't they?
They certainly have. I'm back without Ben Barker. He ran off.
He saw you coming, I think.
I think he did. He ran off. His dad was laughing at me. But yeah, no, Garry, we know, is a master tactician, and when it works, I think he's he likes a tinker, does Garry, and he's tinkered with things. So yeah, as you can see, the kids race is just finishing here. That's the mainstay of the evening up here at the Coliseum. But we're going to go to some previous action once again to keep you entertained at home. So over to some previous action here at the Coliseum once again.
11. Richie Worrell in red off the inside for Plymouth. Eric Riss, 2 wins out of 2 so far for the German in Heat 2 off Gate 2 in white. Gate 3, James Pearson in blue for Plymouth, and Gate 4, Max Clegg for Edinburgh in yellow.
You look at this lineup, Max Clegg won his last ride, James Pearson won his last ride. They've all won their last ride. So I'm pretty sure it'll be a battle to who can get to the inside first.
So here we go, heat number 11.
Big race this.
And that's a great gate from Eric Riss. Worrell is going around the inside, and the battle for 3rd and 4th as well. Pearson just getting his nose in front there, though. Max Clegg trying to come underneath him, but it's Eric Riss just leading the way at the moment.
Yeah, exactly that. Eric made the start. Gate 1 really doesn't seem to be doing much. James Pearson just done a great job. He had to work really hard there to get around the outside of Max Clegg. As I said, there's not much material, but he's managed to do that. They've settled into a 3-3, but neither person, 2nd or 4th, have given up, so this race isn't over.
No, they're all very tightly packed, all 4 of them, as Eric Riss leads into the final lap. Richie Worrell just drifting out a little bit wide there, but James Pearson, Clegg's going to go for one last attempt, but not enough grip out there to get him through, so it's another 3-3 with Riss in white winning, Worrell in red 2nd, it's Pearson in blue 3rd, and Clegg in yellow 4th place. 11. Richie Worrell in red off the inside for Plymouth. Eric Riss, 2 wins out of 2 so far for the German in Heat 2 off Gate 2 in white. Gate 3, James Pearson in blue.
So here we go then, abrupt end there. Sorry, Nigel, you got cut off on that replay there, but we'd had enough of that. So, but we, as you can see, bikes are on track, so we had to get ourselves back live to the Coliseum this evening, where we have got heat number 13 coming to tapes, and we are nicely poised here at 35 points to 37 moving into this race.
And it's nicely poised up at Shieldfield Park as well. It's Berwick 41, Paul 37. 2 heats remaining up there, so that's another humdinger as well, just like we've got here at the Coliseum.
Yeah, this championship level speedway really is very exciting. So here we go then, heat 13. We have got off of Gate 1 here, Justin Sedgmen in white, Nicolai KLINDT off of Gate 2 in red, Sonny SPRINGER off of Gate 3 in yellow. That's a baptism of fire, isn't it? Heat 13 for Sonny SPRINGER. And Ben Barker off of the outside, Gate 4 in blue. So Sonny Springer is the rider replacement here for Oscar Polis, and I don't know if he'd have predicted to be in Heat 13 on his opening evening in the championship.
I guess that means that Palovaara will replace Springer in Heat number 14. So a bit of tactical juggling there by team manager John Campbell.
Yeah, it's very interesting seeing John Campbell and Garry May throwing the dice, and throwing the dice once more here with Heat 13. So the rider in white here, I would suggest Justin Sedgmen. He will have a lot of pressure on him from gate number 1, and gate 1 has produced quite a lot of winners this evening. So perhaps this is a masterstroke from the Edinburgh team management. We will wait and see what happens here in Heat 13. So the start marshal calling them in then for the start of Heat 13. Here we go. And tapes up, away they go. Klint makes a good start. Barker's made a good start as well. It's Barker and Nicolai KLINDT who lead, going down the back straight. Barker's on the outside, Nicolai KLINDT's on the inside, and Justin Sedgmen is the rider with all the work to do.
Yeah, great piece of gating there for me. Gladiators Joe. And Sedgman's going to have to work really hard here. He's looking around the outside of Nicolai KLINDT, going down that back straight, going around the outside, putting KLINDT under a lot of pressure as they cross the start-finish line there.
So Nicolai KLINDT is under tremendous pressure. Sedgman's got up the outside of him. He's gone round him going into bend 3. Has Nicolai KLINDT got an answer? They've got one more lap to go here. Nicolai KLINDT has allowed Justin Sedgmen to go past him.
Yeah, great piece of riding by Sedgmen there, and now he's got Ben Barker in his sights. He's going to run out of time. He's going to have one last blast round that 4th bend, but Barker just about holds on. And that's a crucial 4-2 for the Gladiators.
Yeah, that's a very, very important 4-2 there. Nicolai KLINDT didn't have enough to hold off Justin Sedgmen, who did look very, very quick for that 2nd place. But a good win there for Benjamin Barker, doing what was needed there as the captain, bringing home Heat 13. And I have to say, spare a word for Sonny Springer, who was on the pace there, the 16-year-old. He looked quick enough. He did come home in 4th, but he looked very quick there for his first championship meeting. So here we go, the results then of Heat 13. A win for Ben Barker in blue, 3 points to him, 2 points to Justin Sedgmen in white, 1 point to Nicolai KLINDT in red. No score there for Sonny Springer in yellow, but certainly not a performance to be ashamed of whatsoever for the youngster. 4-2 for the Gladiators, and we're all square, Nigel, 39 all.
And Ben Barker becomes the first rider to win from the outside gate tonight. So particularly impressive there from Ben Barker. We're just watching this again.
Yeah, he made a great start, as did Nicolai KLINDT. In fact, Nicolai KLINDT was able to pin Sedgmen down. There we go, straight across the front of Sedgmen, but it wasn't enough later on in the race. Barker comes around the outside. There's a puddle on the inside there. I wonder what that was for a moment, but there's a puddle on the inside. Barker then was able to dictate the race. Sedgmen looked very fast though.
How crucial could that 2nd place by Justin Sedgmen be in the overall outcome of this meeting? 39 points apiece. 2 races to go.
Yeah, it really is. It really is anyone's here. Here is the lineup then for Heat 14. Ben Trigger comes in for his 3rd ride here off the inside in blue. Paco CASTAGNA off of gate 2 in white. Joe Thompson off of gate 3 in red. And Victor Palovaara comes in on the outside here in yellow. So Victor Palovaara has been swapped here with Sonny Springer for this ride, and that could be absolutely crucial. Still yet to win a race, Victor Palovaara, but he has looked fast all evening. He's off of gate 4 here. We've seen that Ben Barker has managed to take a win, the first win of the evening. Surely gate 4 hasn't suddenly come to life here in these last 3 races.
I think that's been a very clever switch of riders there by John Campbell to put Springer out, even though it was a pretty unenviable task for the 16-year-olds, but to put Palovaara in this race, and that does put a little bit of pressure on Ben Trigger, who hasn't been out since heat number 4. So,
and it feels a while since we've seen Joe Thompson as well.
Yeah, it's heat number 9, I think, for Joe Thompson. So yeah, these two, the track will have changed a fair bit, I would have thought, since they were last out.
So here we go then. with heat number 14. Absolutely square here, 39 all after 13 heats. What's going to happen here in heat 14? Taped up, away they go. And it's a good start for Paco CASTAGNA. He forces Thompson wide. Joe Thompson's fully committed. He goes round the outside. A great ride by Joe Thompson to regain the lead, but he's got CASTAGNA all over him in that second place.
Yeah, look, tremendous battle again in this heat. But Joe Thompson just about holding out. The two Monarchs hot on his tail, with CASTAGNA leading the way and Palovaara in third place. Ben Trigger trailing at the back, but that's a crucial overtake for Joe Thompson. So if it stays like this, it'll be all level pegging going into that final heat 15.
But that is a big if, because CASTAGNA is looking very, very hungry in that second place. Joe Thompson has got to have eyes in the back of his head. CASTAGNA's going into that dirt. He's tracing up the back. He's trying to find a way past Joe Thompson. Joe Thompson's got the whole weight of the Coliseum on his shoulders. He's got to cling on. He just about clings on. It's a win for Joe Thompson. A crucial win for Joe Thompson to take the 3 points for the Plymouth Gladiators to keep things tied. And we've got a last heat decider, Nigel.
Wow. Gladiators were 8 points down at 1 point, and they've managed to claw this back and take it into a last heat decider, which should be an absolute thriller. But Joe Thompson, hats off to him there, because that was a classy outside overtake down that back straight to rescue that 3-3 for Plymouth.
A brilliant win there for Joe Thompson. 3 points to him in red, 2 points to Paco CASTAGNA in white, 1 point to Victor Palovaara in yellow. No score for Ben Trigger in blue. A 3-all means it's 42-all, and we are heading to heat 15 with the Knights score absolutely neck and neck. So here's the replay of this heat 14.
Yeah, and again, the two Monarchs gated really well here, particularly CASTAGNA off the gate 2, lifted a little bit going into that first bend, but then Joe Thompson really brave down that back straight, swooping around the outside of the two Monarchs and leading the way from that moment on, despite them putting him under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he was under immense pressure there. He just kept it tidy, kept it clean, kept it on the inside, and CASTAGNA, despite going up into that dirt, just couldn't find a way round.
Ben Trigger just at the back, but that was a tough heat, as I said, when you haven't been out for 10 races, to come into that one and try and deliver the goods is always going to be difficult for Ben Trigger. So heat 15 now, this is going to be really interesting in terms of manager picks. I mean, I think we can put our hats on the fact that FREDRIKSEN's going to be out. Just looking there, see that one gate win from gate 4 was Ben Barker. Gate 3, isn't it? It's really the place at the moment with 6 heat wins. Gate 1, 4, gate 2, 3. Gates 1 and 3 both contributed 23 points. But yeah, do you put Ben Barker or Joe Thompson out with FREDRIKSEN is the Garry May question he's got to answer.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to find out. They're both there, 9 and 8.
They both won their last rides. And as for the Monarchs, well, Palovaara couldn't come out anyhow. He's had his 7 rides. You would probably go Kye Thompson and Jonatan GRAHN, but Justin Sedgmen and Paco CASTAGNA will probably have a say on that as well. So that's a really tough pick for John Campbell. I think Kye Thompson is probably a cert, but who you put him with and who Garry May puts FREDRIKSEN with are going to be the two big questions going into heat 15.
Yeah, I mean, Jonatan GRAHN has looked quick at times, and so too has Justin Sedgmen. I really don't feel like 7 points tell the story for Sedgmen. He's been very quick.
And I think if we're right in saying Gladiators won the toss at the start, then obviously the Monarchs have got choice of gate positions, and based on those stats you would think they will go 1 and 3, but if that puts Barker off the outside gate and he's just 1 off the outside gate, that's there's so many mind games going into this heat 15, aren't there? It's and of course if it's all tied we could have a super heat.
Yes, and I've never experienced a superheat yet. I've never seen one.
No, I've seen them on telly. I've not been part of one or commentated on one.
I've never even seen one on telly, so it'll be a new experience for me, the superheat. But this crowd are absolutely loving this. There's no doubt about that. There's just to your left there, that's Sonny SPRINGER, who's certainly mustn't be ashamed of what he's done this evening. He looked absolutely on the pace in Heat 13. Obviously came home 4th, but yeah, there's a good crop of 15 and 16-year-olds British riders at the moment coming through, and he's certainly one of them to keep an eye on.
So if you were Garry May, put you on the spot here, Gareth, who would you put out with FREDRIKSEN?
I think, it's tough, isn't it? I think that it depends on the gates, I think. I like the idea that Ben Barker could do something off of 4.
Yeah. Though Joe Thompson has had 3 heat wins and a 4 when he was second, so... but yeah, I think I'm like you. If Barker's going to be off 4, then I'd probably lean towards Ben Barker. And as I said, for the Monarchs, Kye Thompson, and do you go for the experience with Justin Sedgmen and Castagna, or do you go with Jonatan GRAHN? That's quite an interesting dilemma for the Monarchs. I think he might go for Sedgmen, but and of course Sedgmen and Thompson ride together, so they're used to riding together as a pair.
It's they're 2 very interesting teams, aren't they? Because they've all done their bit. You know, each team has got 4 riders there that we're saying. You know, that very rarely happens. Usually there's 2 or 3 doing the winning. But there's so many. You're having a look in the pits.
I can see that Kye Thompson in a white helmet, I think.
From where we stand, those of you that don't know the Coliseum, from where we stand on the commentary podium, we can just about see, and it's actually being announced now, isn't it? So we can... we've got Kye Thompson in white and Ben Barker in blue. I didn't catch the red. I'm assuming it's Lasse FREDRIKSEN.
Ben Barker will be in blue, Kye Thompson in white, and Jonatan GRAHN in...
He's gone for Jonatan GRAHN.
So Kye Thompson and Jonatan GRAHN coming out for the Monarchs.
Interesting, very interesting. I didn't hear red, but I'm sure it was FREDRIKSEN.
And Barker. So, yes, interesting to hear that Jonatan GRAHN's been given the nod.
Oh, it's Joe Thompson in red.
So not Lasse FREDRIKSEN, who's obviously exhausted after all of he's done. So Joe Thompson coming in here alongside Ben Barker. And this will be very interesting. So the crowd are being G'd up here for this finale here. 42 all. What's going to happen here? We've had a lot of 3 alls this evening. Could there be another 3 all and be treated to that superheat? Or will the Gladiators manage to do something? Or will it be the Monarchs who reign supreme?
So, interestingly, the Monarchs are in 2 and 4.
So Ben Barker there is lining up in gate 3 here.
Well, I guess that solved your problem. If you didn't know whether to go with Thompson or Joe Thompson or Barker, you picked both of them.
Yeah.
And we're completely wrong. And Lasse FREDRIKSEN is now alongside us up on the gantry, which if we'd known that a few minutes ago.
So heat 15 then, we've got Joe Thompson in red off the inside here for the Gladiators. We've got Kye Thompson off of gate 2 here in white for the Monarchs. We've got Ben Barker in gate 3 in blue for the Gladiators. And we've got Jonatan GRAHN off the outside in gate 4 for the Monarchs.
What a finale.
Heat 15, the scores are tied at 42 all. This is a last heat decider, or could this go to a superheat? We are about to find out in the next 60 seconds around the Coliseum. Ben Barker has peeled away from the start. He's going to come back into that gate number 3.
This is a fitting climax to this meeting, isn't it, Gareth? It's been an absolute belter. Seen some great racing. Both sides have had some wonderful moments, and it all comes down to this one.
The pressure is on here in this heat 15. So tapes are up, away they go. It's a great start off the inside from Kye Thompson. Barker's gone to find the dirt. Barker's gone round the outside. It's Kye Thompson who leads. Ben Barker's in that second place. He's now charging into the dirt. Ben Barker's gone right round the outside.
Oh, and he's overtaken Thompson. He's returned the compliment that Thompson did on him before. And that is brilliant from the Gladiators captain, doing a little wheelie down that back straight. Kye Thompson is drifting back now, and it's all down to Jonatan GRAHN really, whether he can get past Joe Thompson and take this to a superheat.
What a fantastic ride from the captain, Ben Barker. He's going up into the dirt. He's got one more lap to go. Barker's home and dry here, but Joe Thompson, crucially, has got to cling on. He's got to hold at bay Jonatan GRAHN in that 4th place for this to be a win for the Gladiators. Round he comes. It's a win for Barker. It's a win for the Gladiators, a fabulous victory for Ben Barker, a brilliant third place for Joe Thompson. The Coliseum erupts.
That is brilliant from Ben Barker, leading as the captain should, and another great piece of team management by Garry May, picking Barker and Joe Thompson to bring home the spoils. 8 points down at 1 point, and they've turned it around to win this meeting by 2 points. Ben Barker, Joe Thompson, take your hats off to them.
Absolutely tremendous, and he didn't even make the start. He had to work hard for it. He went right up into the dirt on Ben's 1 and 2. The crowd are going mad. Ben Barker and Joe Thompson, what a terrific performance there in Heat 15 to take this win overall. All of the riders are now out onto the circuit to celebrate, and you can see that everybody is absolutely delighted with a Gladiators victory.
Well, Garry May said this was a must-win, and there were large parts of this evening we didn't think that was going to happen, but they have turned the situation around, the Gladiators, and Garry May, no one more happy than he is. Joe Thompson getting loads of plaudits, as is Ben Barker. I don't know if he's going to get the bumps here. He's had a bit of a back shoulder issue recently, so he probably doesn't want the bumps. But no bumps, but lots of congratulations. And Joe Thompson, what form to go into the British Under-21 final at Glasgow in. He should relish that up against his brother tomorrow.
So let's have a look at how it was done here as the riders get themselves onto the victory truck in the stadium. This is what happened here. You can see here that Benjamin Barker, he knew he had to work hard in Ben's 1 and 2. Off the gate, look at that start from the rider in white there, but Barker straight for the dirt, around the outside, and he gets blocked there. Now he goes into the dirt on Ben's 3 and 4, and there it is. And that's how it was done.
That's a classic Barker move, that, isn't it? He's taken that outside line, and he'll be absolutely thrilled with that, or we can see how thrilled he is with it. And they're getting on the truck for the parade, and they should get a rapturous reception from the Gladiators fans here at the Coliseum. But once again, Speedway's been the winner tonight, hasn't it? We've seen some fantastic racing. Another last heat decider, close finish. Garry May wants to get on. You've got to wait for Garry May to get on the on the truck. He deserves so many plaudits because he team managed. Quite often team managers can't have an influence on the outcome, but Garry May tonight has shown what a master tactician he is with some of his changes, and they've worked an absolute treat for him, and I'm absolutely delighted for him and the team.
Both managers heavily involved with all of that this evening, but Garry May just about coming out on top, 46 points to 44 in favour of the home side, and they are going to be absolutely delighted with this. The crowds have been coming into the Coliseum, the atmosphere has been fantastic, but the one thing missing has been the results, and you can see here that every single rider has pitched in with at least a point, and as it turns out it's 2 points that win it, and Ben Trigger and Mitchell Cluff can be pleased with scoring the 2 points.
Certainly can, and you've got to give loads of credit to Edinburgh Monarchs to come down here straight off a meeting last night against Poole without Oscar Pollis, who's left the club. They covered really well for that rider replacement, and they've been solid throughout, and they've played a full part in what's been an excellent meeting. Kye Thompson tonight, absolutely brilliant, but just couldn't hold on there in that last heat decider to Ben Barker, and a fabulous evening for Sonny SPRINGER as well, making his debut at the age of 16.
Yeah, great performance from the Monarchs today. If you have joined us as an Edinburgh Monarchs fan, I hope you've enjoyed this despite the result. It has been a tremendous night of Speedway. As you can see, the next time we are live on Gladiators TV will be next Saturday for the Knockout Cup first leg against the old rivals, the Pirates, who have been in competition up at Shieldfield Park in Berwick this evening. And then the second leg will be on Pirates TV as well on the 28th of May, the following Wednesday. And lots of racing to be done there, but certainly this Gladiators outfit will be buoyed by this performance this evening. They will host the Pirates next Saturday with a little bit more confidence, with a little bit more of a spring in their step, and we will see how that unfolds.
And just to let you know, same scoreline at Berwick as we've had here. The Bandits have beaten the Pirates 46 points to 44. So the Pirates' colours have been lowered there, and that one, just looking, that was it wasn't a last heat decider. It was 45-39 going into the last race. Pirates got a 5-1 in the last race, but the Pirates will be licking their wounds coming here next week.
So tremendous racing up and down the country in the championship. Speedway is the winner, as Nigel said. It's been a brilliant night here at the Coliseum. On behalf of everyone on Gladiators TV, I would like to thank you for joining us on this live stream. We hope you've enjoyed it. Next time we will see you next Saturday when the Pool Pirates come to the Coliseum. On behalf of Nigel and all of the team, we wish you a very good week, and we will see you hopefully trackside very, very soon.